Hey everyone! Per your requests, I'm starting Soul Land 5, The Rebirth of Tang San today. My channel isn't monetized, so if you're able to, please support me on PayPal to help me stay active. Chapters 41 through 60 of the previous episode. Tang San's 5-member team.
The illusory light and shadow, almost invisible, flew toward the winged tiger, and by the time the winged tiger noticed, it was already there. The fur on the back of the winged tiger bristled in an instant, the sense of an imminent deadly threat making it dig out even the most deeply hidden drops of its power. The green wind astral burst forth again, poised to forcibly defend or at least mitigate some of the attack and Oppo's potency. However, when the wind astral was released, the winged tiger was shocked to find that the wind element around it had vanished and disappeared instantly. Indeed, the very energy that it was most proficient in controlling was nowhere to be found, and within a 5-meter radius from it, there was none. The next instant, however, it noticed a massively rich concentration of wind energy not far away. Unfortunately for the tiger, the water in a nearby well cannoned Oppo's do anything to quench the immediate thirst. From afar, Tang San and Oppo's eyes flashed with a glimmer of pearly white light, a halo that flickered and vanished instantly. The next moment, a shadowy dark green streak had already penetrated the winged tiger and Oppo's remaining eye. The growls of the winged tiger stopped immediately. Its throat produced nothing but a gurgling noise. Its robust body stiffened for a moment before crashing to the ground, blood gushing from all its orifices. The shadow that had penetrated its eye had completely obliterated its brain, killing it instantly and leaving it dead beyond doubt. Meanwhile, Wu Bingji had conjured a thick ice wall, and through the transparent barrier, he witnessed the winged tiger and Oppo's collapse, though he was momentarily unaware of what he was seeing. In the air, Chang Zicheng managed to steady herself after much difficulty, but she was still dazed from the collision. She also hadn't Oppo's quite grasped the situation. Gu Li had just steadied himself from the onslaught of the fierce wind and rushed back. By the time he got back, however, the battle was over. Done. Tang San and Oppo's voice rang out, snapping everyone out of their shock. As they turned to look at Tang San again, their gazes couldn't and Oppo's help but change. How did he do it? This was the question on everyone and Oppo's minds. Tang San explained, I gathered energy and sent a compressed wind blade into its eye, and it shredded the tiger and Oppo's brain. It was greatly weakened from the collision with senior brother Bingji, and it couldn't and Oppo's dodge or defend itself. Not that it could and Oppo's dodged or defended anyway. What Tang San had used was not a wind blade but a new personal development, a wind needle. The energy concentration of a wind needle was many times greater than that of an ice needle. Thus, even Tang San and Oppo's spiritual power needed time to accomplish this. Had his spiritual power not made a qualitative leap, this level of control would have been almost impossible. Even Tang San felt some fear when the wind needle took shape. Thankfully, as it was guided by his spiritual power, the wind needle was perfectly precise as it struck. At the same time, he tried his spiritual control for the first time. After merging with the celestial fox vision, he renamed his foremost white bloodline imprint the discerning eye of heaven. Unlike the discerning heart and Oppo's gaze, which offered him some vague awareness of the surroundings, and the upgraded discerning eye, which could see various elements in the air, the further evolved discerning eye of heaven could even control these identified elements within a certain distance, regardless of the element type. Thus, in that instant, Tang San had used the discerning eye of heaven to disperse the wind element around the winged tiger. This was followed by the piercing wind needle, which struck the fatal blow. With the penetrating power of the wind needle, even the wind astral might not have been able to withstand it anyway. But for safety and as a little experiment, Tang San activated the discerning eye of heaven for the first time. The effect was even better than he had imagined. A 6th-order winged tiger, dead in one shot. Only now did Gu Li and Wu Bingji begin to breathe easier. The battle had been extremely tense for them. Only now could they relax. He turned to Tang San and gave a thumbs up. Because of the ice wall, he couldn't and Oppo's see how Tang San had done it. But regardless, the winged tiger was dead. There was no doubt about that. They had indeed taken down a winged tiger. It was not a fully mature 7th order one, true, but it also wasn't an Appos, a 5th order baby. Rather, it was an intermediate 6th order winged tiger. Every bit of this demonic beast was a valuable treasure. Although the exact value varied depending on the beast and Appos' order, the difference was not all that important. Its fur and most other parts had the same value regardless of the order. Moreover, this winged tiger and Appos' fur was almost intact without any damage, which made it even more valuable. Not quite 10 Naturi coins, but probably 8. Damn, we and Appos, we struck it rich. Even someone as composed as Wu Bingji understood this was a fortune. Furthermore, their mission for this trip was completed, and the gains were immense. You and Appos, we really killed it. Little Tang, you and Appos. Re-amazing, Dubai exclaimed in surprise, sitting on a tree branch. He was the only one who had seen how Tang San had made his move. He had watched from the tree as Tang San gathered his strength, even vaguely noticing concentric circles of green light converging toward Tang San and Appos' palm. The light was continuously compressed during the process. The final projection was a shadowy, dark green light, almost indistinguishable at night. Even with his excellent vision, he could only discern it as a vague streak of light. At that moment, Dubai had felt something special. Tang San had been facing away from him, yet when he had launched that attack, Dubai had suddenly felt a weirdly familiar sensation emanating from him. Then the winged tiger had died. Tang San approached Wu Bingji and Guli, asking, "Are you two alright?" Wu Bingji smiled. "Apart from some energy depletion and nervousness, we and Appos, fine. I need to quickly deal with the body to prevent the scent of blood from spreading. Our mission is complete. This is the outer area of the winged tiger and Appos' territory. We should leave tonight and return once we and Appos taken care of the body. We can and Appos stay here any longer just in case." Just as he was saying this, suddenly a cry of alarm rang out. "Oh no!" Everyone turned to look and saw that Dubai had fallen off from his tree branch. A flash of orange-yellow light, and the speed of the golden rock transformation was fully exhibited for everyone to see. Almost immediately before Dubai hit the ground, Chang Zicheng caught him. "What in Appos' the matter with you? Can in Appos' you even sit still?" Chang Zicheng chided. "It and Appos' not that." Dubai and Appos' voice trembled violently. Chang Zicheng then noticed Dubai and Appos' eyes emitting a faint white light, and tears streamed down his face. "Danger to their and Appos' danger," Dubai said in a trembling voice. Seeing this, Tang San and Appos' face turned pale. The celestial fox vision is an eye of fate. What does such a strong reaction mean? Previously, when the 6th order winged tiger arrived, the celestial fox vision had not reacted this way, indicating no significant danger. But at this very moment, Tang San felt a noticeable heat in his eyes, a sensation of tears about to emerge. His scalp tingled, and it felt like a cold breeze swept across his spine. Without hesitation, Wu Bingji immediately collected the corpse of the winged tiger nearby and shouted, "Zicheng, take Dubai and leave. We need to retreat." Just at that moment, a deafening roar erupted, blasting away the leaves of the trees in its path. The 5 people who were preparing to flee the scene all felt their hearts skip a beat when they heard this roar filled with rage and emotion. All of them, except for Tang San, felt their legs turn limp. At this moment they didn't and Appos' need to guess to understand what was happening. They had killed the little tiger and the big tiger was here. Wu Bingji and Appos' mouth twitched as he turned to look at Tang San. After hearing the tiger and Appos' roar, he never thought of fleeing. It was impossible to escape from a higher order winged tiger with their speed. He muttered, "Half gone, half of it is gone." Tang San glanced at him, his mouth twitching slightly. Who would have thought that the senior brother was such a miser at heart? Only he understood what Wu Bingji meant. The mayor accompanied them for protection, and if they encountered an irresistible force, the mayor would intervene. But if the mayor intervened, they would have to give up half their gains. At least half of the winged tiger and Appos' profits. That and Appos' why Wu Bingji felt so helpless. It had been just within their grasp. The hunt they had completed solely relying on their own power. Yet now it seemed the mayor had to step in. But Tang San was thinking about something else. The feeling from the celestial fox vision was telling him it wasn't Apos. That simple. If it was a problem the mayor could solve, they should be safe. Or at least their fate would not be all that miserable. Dubai might not feel it directly, but the celestial fox vision and Apos' perception of fate wouldn't Apos' react so violently. The same applied to Tang San himself. Within his spiritual sea, his divine consciousness resided. A remnant from his previous life and a trump card that he kept in reserve to protect him in this life. His sense of danger was not as strong as Dubai and Apos', not to the extent of being moved to tears. Yet even so, what he felt was a lethal threat. And this meant the starlight and moonlight in the sky suddenly dimmed in that instant. A colossal figure descended from the sky. With a wingspan exceeding 12 meters and a body exceeding 8 meters in length, the beast was covered in brownish fur with a faint golden sheen. The terrifying pressure it radiated made everything around tremble, as if there was an earthquake. Its crystal yellow eyes streaked with blood, radiating insane anger. The turbulent energy in its blood made the air around it seem almost viscous. Under Tang San and Apos' gaze, the wind element in the air wildly converged toward the massive body. The star and moonlight shining on its back created a flowing halo of dark gold. What in the world is that? Guli said, dumbfounded. He remembered very clearly what he had been taught about winged tigers, and no matter how he scoured his memories, he couldn't Apos' recall anything. It and Apos' just too big, too massive. An 8-meter-long tiger with a wingspan over 12 meters. What kind of creature was this? Wu Bingji and Apos' lips quivered. At that moment he could no longer care about the material possessions he was about to lose. Winged Tiger King. Indeed, this wasn't an Apos', a mature winged tiger. A mature winged tiger was of the 7th order, and those with more potent bloodlines could even reach the 8th order. However, the demonic beast before them, filled with insane anger and hatred in its eyes, was not a 7th or 8th order winged tiger. The layer of dark gold sheen highlighting its fur revealed its powerful bloodline. The strongest bloodlines among the demon kind were the golden bloodlines, belonging to the direct lines of the major demon clans. Demonic beasts, however, lacked the elevated spirit of their more advanced peers, and they could not give birth to such a golden bloodline unless they could somehow awaken their sentience through some sort of lucky opportunity. Only the most powerful demonic beasts could manifest a hint of dark gold in their bloodline. Thus, a demonic beast with a hint of dark gold in its bloodline would become the undisputed king among its kind, standing at the very top of the demonic beast food chain. Indeed, what these children were facing was no longer just a winged tiger, but a 9th order winged tiger king. The outskirts. This is just the outskirts of the winged tiger and Apos' territory. How could it be? How is this possible? No wonder that young winged tiger was at the 6th order, not the 5th, and it even had a wind elemental physique and the power of the wind astral. It was an offspring of the winged tiger king. They were about to face the insane revenge of a top-level, 9th order, mighty demonic beast. Zicheng, Dubai, leave quickly. Wu Bingji shouted, frantically gathering ice energy around him. Tang San bitterly smiled. We can and Apos' leave. The wind element in this area has been completely sealed. This is a domain of the wind attribute. Within this domain we simply cannot fly. Indeed, Zicheng was flapping her wings hard, yet she couldn't Apos' generate any airflow. She couldn't Apos' take off no matter what she did. The 9th order winged tiger king roared furiously, striding forward with its robust limbs and approaching them step by step. The immense pressure instantly caused the 5 youngsters to be drenched in sweat from the intense fear. Guli muttered, do you think if we give it the body of its child it would spare us? Tang San and Apos' eye twitched slightly. You can and Apos' be serious. It and Apos' only kill us faster. Suddenly a massive blaze shot up into the sky. The blinding light instantly illuminated the sky and brought warmth to the earth. In the jungle, every detail was revealed under the explosive fire, and the dark golden sheen on the winged tiger king and Apos' fur became even more apparent. The winged tiger king seemed to sense something and roared toward the sky. The rising blaze, now like a meteor chasing the moon, descended from the sky, transforming into a massive fireball and hurtling straight toward the winged tiger king. He and Apos' here. Wu Bingji slightly relaxed, a look of relief flashing in his eyes. Yes, the mayor had arrived. Their savior was finally here. The winged tiger king and Appo's enormous wings suddenly flapped, sending a mighty green light soaring into the sky. The spiraling green light, like a light tornado, changed the color of the heavens and earth wherever it passed. The green and red lights collided fiercely in the sky. A halo of blue and red light spread outwards in midair from the ground. The night sky was illuminated in green and red, an incredibly spectacular sight. Why aren't an Appo's you running yet? Do you want to die? Echoed Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's roaring voice. Tang San and the others finally reacted. Wu Bingji quickly ran to Dubai and picked him up on his back. With Tang San, Gu Li, and Chengzi following closely behind, the four of them broke into a run. The collision of Ninth Order powerhouses was not something they could be involved in. Even the aftermath could quickly devour them. The winged tiger king roared in anger. Its wings spread once more, and two green light blades, each tens of meters long, whistled out, flying toward them. Wherever these blades passed, nothing remained standing. A red light shadow descended from the sky, followed by a tremendous roar. Also a tiger and Appo's roar filled with intense heat. The blaze fell, instantly turning the surroundings into a sea of fire. The flames surged, managing to block the vast expanse of wind blades. Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's demonic god transformation was the blaze tiger transformation, originating from the blaze tiger. It was immensely powerful, and it exuded a mighty aura. Even though they were both tiger races, the rank of the blaze tiger was actually above that of the winged tiger, as the latter was a demonic beast, not a demon. But the demonic god transformation of humans and the power of proper demons still differed. Therefore, in terms of bloodline, the two opponents were on par. Unfortunately, the winged tiger that the mayor was facing was the winged tiger king, with a hint of dark golden bloodline. The physical prowess of the winged tiger king was something Zhang Haoshuan could not compare to. In a clash of ninth orders, he had no assurance of victory. With the attack from behind blocked by the mayor, Tang San and the others quickly fled. As they were running, however, Tang San now understood why he had such a foreboding feeling. They were at the border of the winged tiger territory, which meant that within that area, there was not just one winged tiger. Winged tigers were not terribly social beings, but the creature attacking them was a winged tiger king. Therefore, the question had to be asked. Could this king command its kin? And even if it could not, there was still something important to consider. Winged tigers lived in family units, and this winged tiger king was unquestionably the pillar of its family. The winged tiger they had killed was an infant, which meant that the winged tiger king probably had a piercing roar erupted. Gales swept through, instantly blowing the leaves off the surrounding treetops and leaving them bare. The faces of Tang San and his four companions changed dramatically. It really came. This was the truly lethal threat. Shrouded in a blinding green light, a colossal figure smashed onto the ground not far in front of them. The massive shockwave it created as it landed instantly sent them flying backward. It was about 6 meters long, with a wingspan of over 8 meters. A huge concentration of the wind element swirled around its body, its furious roars even more intense than the winged tiger king and Appo's. Damn, the tigress is here. Once we took down the youngling, the mother came right away. Had the young winged tiger not sought to kill Tang San and his group for food, their family would still be intact. Had they known such a family was there, Tang San and his group would have simply walked around them. However, due to its gluttony, the greedy young winged tiger had lost its life, and its parents went into a frenzy as a result. The pull of bloodline power immediately alerted the winged tiger king, who rushed to the scene at once. Following closely was the tigress. She arrived slightly later, but still in time to effectively block Tang San and his companions and Appo's path. Undoubtedly, this was an adult winged tiger. In the world of tigers, the females were generally less powerful than their male counterparts. However, being the wife of the winged tiger king, this particular tigress was undoubtedly a paragon among her kind. Just a hair and Appo's breadth from the 8th order. That was Tang San and Appo's instant assessment. In other words, the tigress before them was at the peak of the 7th order, incredibly close to breaking through. Though Zhang Haoshuan himself was at the 9th order, Even just holding his ground against the Winged Tiger King was an achievement in and of itself. To Wu Bingji, the mayor and Apos' presence had been all but absolute assurance, yet now this mighty guardian was fighting an even mightier foe. As a result, with their protector unable to fulfill his mission, these children were faced with the formidable 7th-order winged tigress that was grieving the loss of her own child. Wu Bingji and Gu Li were by far not in their peak state, while Tang San and Chang Zicheng were in a somewhat better condition. However, even Wu Bingji, the one with the highest cultivation among them, was only at the 6th order. The gap between the 6th and 7th orders was far greater than the one between the 5th and the 6th, not to mention the opponent and Apos' formidable physical strength. Wu Bingji gently set down Dubai, who was on his back, and whispered, "Run as far as you can. You must not die. No matter what, find a way to get back." At that moment, his emotions calmed down. Despite being only 16 years old, he was the eldest disciple of the Redemption Society. He was the oldest and most advanced in cultivation among them all. He harbored no resentment. What point would there be? Who could have anticipated such a turn of events? But at this moment, he had resolved to protect his junior brothers and sisters at all costs. Tang San, take them and leave immediately. If necessary, scatter and run. Save as many as you can. I and Apos, I'll hold it off. I Don and Apos, know for how long, but I will. Just go. They were still within the domain controlled by the Winged Tiger King, so even Chang Zicheng couldn't and Apos, fly. But once they left this area and flight became possible, Chang Zicheng and Apos' chances of escape would be significantly higher. It and Apos' no use. You alone can and Apos' hold it off for long. Tang San and Apos' voice was equally calm. He stood beside Wu Bingji shoulder to shoulder. Eldest senior brother, I was the one who suggested that we come here for training. We should face the enemy together. Tang San was only 9 years old, noticeably shorter than Wu Bingji. Yet, standing side by side with him, his stature did not seem a single inch smaller. Wherein an Apos, we targeting a 7th-order winged tiger anyway? The target an Apos' right in front of us, so why run? Let an Apos' just do it. Gu Li stood on the other side of Tang San, the three forming a concave line. Tang San turned to Chang Zicheng and Dubai, it and Apos' no use for you two to stay. Go now. He had no confidence in defeating a peak 7th-order winged tiger, even without hiding his abilities and using all his powers. After all, even though he was at the peak of the 5th order, it was still just the 5th order. I want an Apos' leave. Dubai you go. Chang Zicheng stubbornly looked at the three, showing no intention of leaving. Stop wasting words, let an Apos' go. Can he get far on his own? Wu Bingji suddenly turned around, scolding his junior in an angry tone. At this moment, the massive winged tigress was surrounded by a dazzling green light, dispelling the darkness around it. The wind astral swirling around it was several times denser than the younger winged tiger and Apos', and it emitted a tremendous oppressive force toward everyone. Chang Zicheng wanted to say something more, but after glancing at the pale-faced Dubai beside her, she gritted her teeth, grabbed Dubai, and turned to run. Tang San and Apos' eyes showed no fear. If he had a choice, he would never reveal his true abilities, let alone use his divine consciousness. But now, it seemed that the chances of having an actual choice were slim. He hadn't and Apos' anticipated such a situation. Not even Zhang Haoshuan could protect them, 9th order and all. Plans can and Apos' keep up with changes. Only by revealing his trump card could he ensure everyone in Apos' survival. But in his heart he felt reassured. He hadn't and Apos' misjudged people, had he? Whether it was Wu Bingji and Apos' resolute decision to cover their retreat or Gu Li and Apos' seemingly reckless but strong determination in the face of death, it all made him feel like he was back in the past, fighting alongside his companions. They are all trustworthy. A faint white light flickered in and out of view in Tang San and Apos' eyes. He spoke softly, eldest senior brother, Brother Gu Li, help me. Ice spear. Responding to Tang San and Apos' words without hesitation, Wu Bingji grasped the void with his right hand, rapidly condensing the ice elemental energy in the air. His entire bloodline power surged. not holding anything back in the face of their enemy and Appo's immense oppressive force. The ice spear appeared in the air and shot forward instantly, emitting a piercing howl as it headed straight for the tigress. Tang San tapped the ground with his toes and leaped up simultaneously, landing like a phantom on the spear. Riding the spear, he rushed straight toward the tigress. Wu Bingji and Gu Li didn't end Appo's pause. As the ice spear carried away Tang San, they followed closely, charging forward. Although they didn't end Appo's know what Tang San was planning at such a time, they could only give it their all. Tang San did not use the bloodline imprint of the Wind Wolf transformation. At this moment his eyes were filled with a bright white light. Under the gaze of the discerning eye of heaven, the wind element in front of him was visible, surrounded by the intensely dense wind astral, entwined with dazzling green light. In an instant the tigress moved. Its vast wings flapped violently, and the next moment, its massive figure lunged straight at Tang San. Its right claw swung up, bringing an incomparably fierce aura with it, and 5 wind astral blades generated by its tiger claws descended upon him. Tang San would be instantly cut into pieces if this claw hit him. Freeze! Tang San shouted explosively. Freeze! Gu Li was already prepared, and the Chrono Croc transformation was activated at Tang San and Appo's signal. The control of the Chrono Croc transformation was powerful, even when facing opponents of higher orders. However, the gap in strength between the two sides was simply too vast. The tigress and Appo's swiping claws and lunging torso paused in midair, but it was only for a moment, and the wind astral on its claw blades did not diminish. Wu Bingji was charging forward, his heart in his throat. Were his eyes deceiving him? The tigress had paused for the briefest of moments, but to him it had almost seemed as if she paused twice in succession. When Tang San launched himself forward, he had already made up his mind. Having faced countless challenges across 3 lifetimes, his combat experience was immensely rich. Undoubtedly, the creature before them was not something they could confront. With a physique almost akin to an 8th-order demonic beast, even standing still and allowing them to attack might not break its defense. The winged tiger and Appo's innate bloodline ability was the wind astral, an extremely powerful amalgamation of offense and defense. And it could fly, which made escape impossible. The fact that the town and Appo's mayor could withstand a 9th-order winged tiger king was no small feat. Thus, at this moment, they could rely on no one but themselves. Wu Bingji was not mistaken. The tigress and Appo's body had indeed paused twice in midair. One pause was due to Gu Li and Appo's Chrono Croc transformation, and the other was from Tang San. This was his first use of the Chrono Crocodile's bloodline ability. When using Time Freeze, he felt a portion of his spiritual power being drained instantly, and everything in front of him twisted momentarily. His Chrono Croc transformation imprint was only at the 3rd order, so it was theoretically less effective than Gu Li's. Still, his current spiritual power had liquefied, making him much stronger than Gu Li on a spiritual level, hence the similar effect in time solidification. Tang San acted in that moment of the tigress and Appo's frozen stance. He suddenly sprang from the ice spear, which fell under his stomp. His figure, soaring into the air, flickered ethereally. In the next instant, he had already dodged the tigress and Appo's claw. Using the light of the wind astral on the tiger and Appo's claws as cover, his form abruptly vanished for a moment. Wu Bingji and the others only saw a blur before Tang San, inexplicably, was already above the tigress and Appo's head. Tang San never stuck to outdated notions, especially in life or death situations. Leopard flash transformation. A single flicker brought him directly above the tigress. He was instantly on the tigress and Appo's back after fully activating his controlling crane capturing dragon technique. Instead of attacking directly, he fully engaged his mysterious heaven technique, frantically devouring energy. He didn't and Appo's know if his ability to devour demons would work on demonic beasts. But he knew this was his only chance. To survive the tigress and Appo's attack, he had to do 2 things: strengthen himself and weaken the enemy. Boom! A massive surge of bloodline power instantly rushed into Tang San and Appo's body. It worked. That was Tang San and Appo's first thought. But in the next instant, the tigress reacted, and the wind astral on its body suddenly erupted. A massive burst of energy surged, catapulting Tang San into the air. He was blasted 100 meters away, breaking through the tree canopy. Even so, at the instant of the wind astral and Appo's explosion, he knew that he had achieved his goal. In that brief moment, he had touched the tigress's back and accessed the bloodline energy surrounding its heart. This was where its blood and energy were most concentrated, and naturally the place where the bloodline energy was richest. Due to the effect of two-time freezes in that instant, the tigress had been left without its wind astral protection, and it had only taken a mere moment for Tang San to drain it. With this absorption, Tang San did not even stop to consider whether his body could withstand it. His cultivation of the mysterious heaven technique was already at the peak of the fifth order, and it was instantly elevated to the utmost limit within this level. What Wu Bingji and the others saw was Tang San being violently blasted into the air, blood spurting from his mouth, and his clothes torn apart. His life or death was uncertain. "Aya!" Wu Bingji shouted, instantly throwing the icicle he had formed in his hand, fully unleashing his ice elemental power and charging toward the tigress. Guli did the same. At this moment his inner grief overcame fear. They didn't and Appo's know what Tang San had done, but the instant Tang San was blown away, the tigress and Appo's suppression of their bloodline powers was noticeably weakened. They figured Tang San might have died, so they went all out. At the very least, they wanted to buy time for Chang Zicheng and Dubai to escape. Even if they didn't make it, they had to ensure that their younger siblings escaped. Even with its peak 7th order strength, the tigress felt weakness throughout its body from Tang San and Appo's absorption. That Tang San and Appo's clothes were torn apart as he flew in the air was and Appo's actually due to the wind astral and Appo's impact, but because he had absorbed too much energy too quickly. His body was unable to withstand it, and the energy had dispersed through his pores and shredded his clothes. Wu Bingji was sent flying by a claw strike. His protective ice armor shattered into large pieces. If it weren't and Appo's for Guli and Appo's time freeze forcibly arresting the strike's momentum for half an instant, that strike might have cost him half his life. In his frenzy, Guli swung his tail hammer and struck the tigress and Appo's right claw, forcing it to the ground. But the next instant, he was sent flying by the tigress and Appo's left claw. The sharp tiger claws left 5 deep, bone-visible scratches on him. Even the thick scales of the chrono crocodile Kuden and Appo's entirely stopped the tiger and Appo's claws, and blood gushed out. If it weren't and Appo's for Tang San and Appo's absorption, which had weakened the tigress and Appo's strength, Guli would have lost his life in that instant. The gap was too vast. Their attacks Kuden and Appo's breached the defense of the 7th order winged tiger, and every strike from the beast threatened their lives. Wu Bingji struggled to sit up, continuously shooting icicles at the tigress and Appo's eyes, trying to distract it. Unfortunately, even the young winged tiger's wind astral could block the icicles normally. Facing the power of a 7th order beast, they were instantly shattered by the wind astral. Meanwhile, Tang San had reached peak altitude and was now plummeting back down. The tigress harbored a more profound hatred for him, the human that had done something to its energy. It didn't end Appo's pursue Wu Bingji and Guli anymore. Instead, it suddenly lifted its head, flapped its wings, and leaped toward the sky. Its gaping maw opened, and its enormous fangs were poised to bite Tang San in half. A few more seconds and Tang San would become tiger food. No, Wu Bingji bellowed, and in an instant the ice elemental power burst forth. An ice wall behind him shattered, propelling him like a meteor chasing the moon, rushing straight toward the tigress. His time with Tang San had been brief, yet he had learned much from him in that short half-month. He could feel that his junior had an astonishingly brilliant talent, even though he only had the lower-tier demonic god transformation of the Wind Wolf. Although he was only 9 years old, Wu Bingji admired and deeply respected him. A roar also echoed at this moment. "Freeze!" Guli, his entire body stained red with blood, let out this roar with all his strength. The intense white light mingled with the blood on his body, manifesting the strongest time freeze he had ever done in his life. The tigress clearly slowed down, and its wings stiffened in place. Despite the inertia still carrying it upward, Its gaping jaws simply couldn't and oppose. T close. Freeze. A familiar voice rang out at this moment beside Wu Bingji and Appo's ear. Due to being propelled forward by the exploding ice wall, Wu Bingji and Appo's back was mangled and bloody. However, the pain allowed him to remain lucid, in spite of being completely drained. The ice spears he had thrust out instantly shattered on contact with the beast. He suddenly spread his arms wide, and as his ice-blue body collided with the tigress, his arms wrapped tightly around the beast and Appo's thick neck. The ice-blue color instantly spread over the tigress and Appo's body, and as the last drops of energy of the sixth-order ice nymph transformation were squeezed in a supreme effort, the tigress froze. At the same time, the green figure falling from the sky somehow somersaulted and curled up. Faced with the enormous jaws coming to bite him, he didn't and Appo's evade but instead plunged into them. The tigress watched him fall into its mouth, but the time freeze, coupled with the freezing that chilled its entire body and stiffened its movements, made its jaws clamp down just a beat too late. The next moment, a dazzling green light burst forth inside its mouth. The tigress let out a heart-wrenching roar, spewing out a thick mist of blood mingled with a green glow. The blinding wind astral burst forth, and Wu Bingji, frozen onto the tiger, was also blasted away by the shockwave. In the face of the exploding wind astral, the ice nymph transformation couldn't and Appo's fully protect him, resulting in his blood spraying wildly. The tigress frantically flapped its wings, the surrounding vegetation sliced into various shapes by the rampant wind element. The tigress clutched its head with its paws in agony, seemingly trying to dispel the pain from its head, but at this moment it was bleeding from all orifices. Copious amounts of blood gushed out amidst its frantic struggle. The body of a seventh-order demonic beast was truly formidable. However, tough as its hide was and strong though its bones and muscles, its internal organs were just like any other internal organs, vulnerable. And a full-power wind blade exploding inside its throat did exactly what a wind blade exploding inside someone in Appo's throat was bound to do. It shredded everything in its path into pieces. Moreover, it wasn't and Appo's just Tang San and Appo's power but also the tigress and Appo's own. When Tang San was blasted into the sky by its wind astral, the immense bloodline power that surged into his body nearly caused it to burst. But Tang San did not panic, as this was a situation he had anticipated. With the massive surge of bloodline power into his body, the first thing that happened to him was that he almost instantly broke through the bottleneck of the sixth order of the mysterious heaven technique. This was one of Tang San and Appo's key objectives in approaching the tigress. Breaking through the sixth layer of the mysterious heaven technique required an immense amount of energy. Though the bloodline energy of demonic beasts was rather impure compared to that of demons, the energy from a seventh-order winged tiger was so abundant that even after filtration, it was far more than enough to meet his needs. At that moment, the energy of the mysterious heaven technique was circulating at breakneck speed within Tang San, forcibly protecting his meridians from being overwhelmed by the furious bloodline energy. The blood spouted by Tang San was also a result of the same issue. Rather than being caused by an injury, it was caused by his own energy expelling the impurities in the fresh bloodline energy in order to avoid injury. By the time he descended from the sky, he had already regained control of his body. He was now grateful for having daringly integrated the celestial fox transformation earlier. His precise control over his own body in a moment was only due to the influence of his liquefied spiritual power. The difficulty of such a feat was something that Tang San understood all too well. Additionally, his ability to maintain control over the rampant energy within him in such extreme conditions was also thanks to his experience from 3 lifetimes of manipulating various levels of spiritual power. Due to the lack of time, he couldn't and Appo's absorb that massive energy. Instead, he opted to direct it outward, causing an explosion when he entered the tigress and Appo's mouth. He had actually been planning to go for the tigress and Appo's eyes, which were practically the most vulnerable. Having just advanced to the sixth order of cultivation, combined with the bloodline energy absorbed from the tigress, breaking through its defenses was feasible. But unexpectedly, Wu Bingji and Gu Li had joined forces to fight the tigress, which not only slowed it down but also presented Tang San with a unique opportunity to attack. The ferocious energy he could not contain was unleashed through his mysterious jade hands, and almost instantly vented into the softest part of the tigress and Appo's mouth. Even Tang San and Appo's mysterious jade hands, which toughened his palms to an incredible degree, struggled to withstand that violent energy. A mist of blood burst from the surface of his skin. As for the completely unprotected throat of the demonic beast, when Tang San left the mouth he looked badly injured, and he really was, but it was clear that the tigress was by far worse off. It fell to the ground, vomiting blood profusely, and its eyes rapidly dimmed. Even the toughest defense can be easily breached from within, and Tang San had fully demonstrated this. He landed on the ground, barely able to maintain his stance. Meanwhile, Guli, who had exhausted all his strength and overdrawn himself in the distance, along with Wu Bingji, who was blasted away and lay on the ground, had both fallen into unconsciousness. In that brief battle, all three had fought with all their might. They would have undoubtedly perished under the winged tiger and Appo's claws if there had been even the slightest mistake. Oh! A piercing roar resounded in the distance. A massive burst of green light shot up into the sky, shattering the vast swathes of red light. A terrifying aura burst forth wildly, and Tang San and Appo's face changed. He knew exactly what was happening. The winged tiger king sensed that its mate was dying and it had gone into a frenzy, becoming too much for the mare to handle. The fury of losing a child, the hatred of losing a wife. One could only imagine the terrifying attacks that a ninth-order winged tiger king would unleash in this state. Tang San struggled to turn around. His condition was dire. His meridians were strained, his energy in disarray, his aura chaotic. He was simply unable to continue the fight. The massive silhouette of the winged tiger king appeared in the distant sky, but just then, Tang San saw a brilliant red light streaking across the heavens. The red light was incredibly bright. As soon as it appeared, the entire sky was red like a spectacular sunset. This red light suddenly suppressed the intense green light emanating from the winged tiger king. As the red light passed, the winged tiger king let out a pitiful scream, its massive body unable to maintain flight. The green wind astral around it shattered, and the tiger was flung into the distance. What a powerful strike! Tang San froze for a moment. Was the mare that powerful? Heavily injured, the winged tiger king fled, not even attempting to find its mate. At this moment, the last glimmer of light in the eyes of the tigress finally extinguished, signaling her complete demise. This peak 7th order winged tiger, which was maybe just weeks or months away from reaching the 8th order, thus fell under the combined efforts of Tang San and his allies. The red figure in the distance swiftly approached like a streak of flowing light. When Zhang Haoshuan saw Tang San rapidly descending, his eyes widened instantly. His first thought was it and Appo's over it and Appo's all over. Chang Zicheng and Du Bai were nowhere to be seen. Wu Bingji and Guli lay on the ground, their fate unknown, and only Tang San was still barely supporting himself. Tang San noticed the long sword in Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's hand. It was a somewhat transparent-looking dark red sword that seemed neither metal nor jade, emitting a fierce red glow. Without a doubt, the stunning red light from before was unleashed by this sword. Master! Tang San coughed out a mouthful of blood and then collapsed on the ground, finally unable to hold on any longer. Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's voice trembled. These were some of the best students in this session. How could he explain something to the organization if something happened to them? Tang San shook his head saying they and Appo's fine. Chang Zicheng and Du Bai left ahead. We three covered the rear and we somehow managed to take down the tigress. Please check on the two senior brothers. Upon hearing that Chang Zicheng and Du Bai had evacuated, Zhang Haoshuan immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Du Bai and Appo's celestial fox transformation was just too important, and Chang Zicheng and Appo's golden rock transformation also held incredible potential. Fortunately, these two were alive and had not perished under the tiger and Appo's claws. Without saying anything else, Zhang Haoshuan quickly went to Wu Bingji and Guli and Appo's side to check their condition. Wu Bingji and Appo's injuries were quite severe, and he had at least 4 or 5 broken ribs. Thankfully, his breathing was steady, which indicated that there was no immediate threat to his life. Guli had passed out due to mental exhaustion rather than physical injury, although he had also been struck by the tigress. His physical status seemed normal, but his mental fluctuations were noticeably unstable. But at least these two are still alive. Alive, that and Oppos. Good, that and Oppos. Good. Zhang Haoshuan muttered to himself, and only then could he relax, opening his mouth to spit out a mouthful of blood. Wiping the bloodstains from the corner of his mouth, he picked up Wu Bingji and Guli and brought them near Tang San. The flaming longsword in his hand slowly merged into his right arm and disappeared. "Teacher, that strike of yours was really powerful," Tang San exclaimed. Zhang Haoshuan frowned. "It and Oppos. Just a last resort attack. What in Oppos? So great about that? It was an attack that required charging up. Otherwise it wouldn't and Oppos. Have been delayed for so long. Chengzicheng and Dubai." Tang San said, "Please hurry and find them. They will be in danger if they encounter other demonic beasts in the forest. Since you and Oppos driven away the winged tiger king here, even if there are other winged tigers, they probably won in Oppos. Get anywhere near this area. I and Oppos, I'll stay here and watch over them. In a little while I should be able to fight. Those two are not in a condition to move. They can only rest here for now. First we need to stabilize their injuries. You stay here and guard them. I and Oppos, I'll be back as quickly as I can," Zhang Haoshuan said without hesitation, suppressing his injuries. He leaped up again and swiftly headed into the distance. He had to find Chang Zicheng and Dubai. Otherwise, these vast forests would be too dangerous for them. He left, and Tang San breathed a sigh of relief, though his physical condition was still deplorable. Fortunately, his mysterious heaven technique had made a breakthrough. Now that he was at the 6th order, his energy offered him an even more substantial capability to nourish and heal himself. He silently circulated his energy, adjusting his disordered aura and meridians and slowly healing his injuries. At the same time, Tang San discovered that inside his body, there was an additional bloodline imprint. It was a translucent emerald color, much more transparent and solid than his wind wolf transformation imprint. Without a doubt, he had gotten this imprint from the tigress. When he thoroughly devoured it, it was to weaken the tigress and strengthen himself, but unexpectedly, he had also obtained a bloodline imprint, even though the source was a demonic beast rather than a demon. Now that the battle was over, he slowly analyzed the remaining power of the tigress and Oppos' bloodline within him, comparing the bloodlines of demonic beasts and demons. Unlike anybody else on this planet, he could simply put the bloodline imprints one next to another and compare them directly. As expected, the bloodline power of demonic beasts was more turbulent, unlike the pure bloodline power of demons, and it contained more impurities. This was likely because their spiritual intelligence was low at best, and during cultivation they could only passively absorb spiritual energy. They could not consciously circulate it, much less filter it and use catalysts to improve it. This was one of the reasons demonic beasts could not cultivate to the level of a god king. However, in terms of the vigor of their chi and blood, demonic beasts were certainly not inferior. This peak 7th order tigress contained the most formidable bloodline energy Tang San had ever felt. Within its enormous body lay incredibly potent bloodline power. Of course, this was because he had not yet felt the bloodline power of the mayor, his master. 1. The wind attribute imprint the tigress left should be called the winged tiger transformation. The winged tiger is of the wind attribute. As expected, the innate ability of the winged tiger is not flying. It seems that and Oppos' something instinctual. Considering the color of the imprint, it's clear that the ability attached to it is the wind astral. 2. Now, what would happen if the winged tiger transformation with the wind astral ability were to merge with the wind blade from my wind wolf transformation? Undoubtedly, the winged tiger transformation and Oppos' bloodline tier was higher than the wind wolf transformation and Oppos'. If the winged tigers were demons, their bloodline tier would directly start at the 3rd tier. Unfortunately, they were demonic beasts, not demons, so their bloodline purity was somewhat inferior, but it should still be above the 4th tier. As for the winged tiger king, its bloodline was undoubtedly peak 3rd tier, if not higher. The winged tiger transformation imprint was likely able to merge with Tang San and Oppos' wind wolf transformation, allowing it to evolve and offering Tang San a more varied range of attacks than just the basic wind blade. Of course, this wasn't an oppose. Something he can do right now. The intense impact of the bloodline energy on his meridians still had to be repaired. Fortunately, the mysterious heaven technique had made his meridians very flexible, and its nurturing effect on Tang San and Appo's physique was excellent. Given enough time, full recovery was a given. Now, the only concern was whether another powerful winged tiger would try to profit from the others and Appo's misfortune. The mayor had previously dealt a heavy blow to the winged tiger king, and Tang San hoped the winged tigers didn't and Appo's have the habit of helping each other. Otherwise, he would really have to rely on his divine consciousness. Just then, he distinctly felt a warm sensation flowing through his eyes, which soothed his tense mood somewhat. Was this the effect of the celestial fox vision, or rather the discerning eye of heaven telling him there was no danger nearby? While Tang San was marveling at the function of the celestial fox vision, Zhang Haoshuan returned, carrying Chang Zicheng and Du Bai on each shoulder. Seeing the mayor return, Tang San breathed a sigh of relief and became even more intrigued by the mysteries of the celestial fox vision. Indeed, there was no danger. The foresight it provided was genuinely fascinating. It was exactly like the premonition he had of the imminent threat that the winged tiger king posed. At that time, the intense sense of crisis was because of the hidden danger represented by the tigress, a danger they had been forced to face by themselves. Zhang Haoshuan descended from the air, and only then did Tang San notice that while Chang Zicheng was all right, Du Bai had fallen unconscious, and his face was deathly pale. "Master, what happened to senior brother Du Bai?" Tang San asked in surprise. Before Zhang Haoshuan could speak, Chang Zicheng said, "While we were running away, we both felt extremely guilty. I was carrying him, and he kept saying he was useless. Then, I suddenly felt a strong surge in spiritual power. After that, he fell unconscious. He scared me terribly. He was just hanging there like a limp noodle. Luckily, the mayor came after us after a minute. I Don and Appo's know what exactly happened. A sudden burst of intense spiritual fluctuations. Then he fell into a coma. It must be mental exhaustion," Zhang Haoshuan stated. Tang San instantly understood what had happened. Du Bai must have felt profoundly useless and filled with self-blame while escaping with Chang Zicheng. Then he used the power of the celestial fox vision, exerting it to its fullest to try to manipulate their fate. It seems he succeeded. If he hadn't and Appo's taken the chance to attack the tigress and Appo's mouth, even if he could have blinded it, the three of them would still have been in great danger. Unless he used his divine consciousness, death would have been almost inevitable. They had unexpectedly coordinated perfectly at that moment, ultimately managing not just to injure but to kill the tigress. There was no way luck was not involved. Du Bai and Appo's remote manipulation of the power of fate seemed to have contributed to their success. This was truly fascinating. You guys. At this moment, Chang Zicheng saw the massive body of the tigress not far away. Now relaxing, Zhang Haoshuan also noticed the body of the tigress and exclaimed in surprise, "Wow! How is it this big?" Previously, his focus was on the well-being of his students, and he hadn't Appo's paid attention to the winged tiger. Now that things had settled down and all 5 children were alive and well, he finally processed what had happened. The strength of demonic beasts was most often proportional to their size, and the winged tiger certainly fell into this category. The size of this winged tiger in front of them dwarfed an ordinary adult winged tiger, yet they had managed to kill it. When Zhang Haoshuan looked at Tang San again, his face showed nothing but shock. Tang San smiled wryly. "This is the result of everyone in Appo's combined effort." Chang Zicheng said, "Mayor, you and Appo's so amazing. How did you get here? Thank goodness for you, or we would have been doomed." Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's mouth twitched slightly. His arrival was indeed crucial. He had stopped the winged tiger king. However, this winged tiger in front of them had nothing to do with him. But at this moment he didn't and Appo's know what had happened, and knowing the secret of Tang San and Appo's mysterious heaven technique, he didn't and Appo's say much. "Rest here and recover as quickly as possible. We still need to leave this area soon. Otherwise we and Appo's will be in trouble if the winged tiger king returns." When he sat down, he visibly trembled. indicating that his earlier encounter with the Winged Tiger King had been anything but easy. However, he couldn't and Appo's rest yet. He carefully examined Wu Bingji and Appo's condition, aligning his broken bones correctly to prevent them from healing the wrong way. He also needed to monitor Guli and Dubai and make sure nothing went wrong to Dubai and Guli were deeply unconscious, showing no reaction at all. Their spiritual power was severely depleted. Chang Zicheng was the only one fully unharmed. Thus, she was in charge of keeping watch. Tang San had no time to explain anything. With Zhang Haoxuan and Appo's return, he hurriedly engaged in the mysterious heaven technique to tend to his injuries. The night was indeed a heart-stopping experience. The tigress and Appo's body had disappeared when Tang San awoke from meditation the following day. He then saw Wu Bingji, with his torso wrapped in bandages and supported by wooden splints, resting against the trunk of a large tree not far away. Dubai and Guli were still lying there. Chang Zicheng and Zhang Haoxuan were nowhere to be seen. After a night of recovery, although he was still feeling some faint pain inside, Tang San and Appo's injuries had stabilized. "You up? Have something to eat." Zhang Haoxuan and Appo's voice sounded as he approached from behind Tang San, offering him some fruits. "Thank you, master." Tang San took the fruits and began to eat heartily. The fruits from these mountains were rich in spiritual energy. After eating 7 or 8 of them, the replenishment of spiritual energy, nutrition, and hydration made Tang San feel much better. Zhang Haoxuan sat beside him. He was rather pale, but his aura had regained stability, as befitting of a 9th order powerhouse. "Tell me, how did you defeat the tigress last night?" Zhang Haoxuan asked. Tang San replied it resulted from everyone in Appo's concerted efforts. "Didn't an Appo's the eldest senior brother tell you?" "He did tell me about the earlier part, but he mentioned that it looked like you were about to be eaten by the winged tiger," said Zhang Haoxuan. Tang San replied wryly, "When I lunged at it, I was actually planning to restrain the winged tiger. But as it flung me away, I actually made a breakthrough. The eldest senior brother must have told you the rest. I was lucky during my fall. I landed directly into the tigress and Appo's mouth. At that time it couldn't and Appo's close its mouth because the eldest senior brother froze it and Guli also used time freeze, creating an opportunity for me to attack. I released a full-power wind blade inside the tigress and Appo's mouth. Thanks to my breakthrough, my attack was strong enough to injure it seriously. Attacking from inside its mouth? No wonder, Zhang Haoxuan mused. He had also observed the tigress and Appo's condition earlier, noting that the fatal wound was indeed internal, leaving the tiger and Appo's hide perfectly intact. This time you almost got into a complete disaster. Never undertake such risky missions again. If it weren't and Appo's for your luck yesterday, by the time I got there, you would have been torn apart by that tigress, Zhang Haoxuan said, still feeling a shudder of fear. Tang San smiled. Luck is also a part of strength. Don and Appo's forget why I brought Dubai along. If I and Appo's am not mistaken, his unconsciousness is due to using the celestial fox vision to the maximum, so the power of fortune was on our side. Otherwise, how could it have been so coincidental that I would fall directly into the tiger and Appo's mouth for an attack? Zhang Haoxuan was startled. Are you saying that his 3rd order celestial fox vision could influence a peak 7th order winged tiger? That and Appo's impossible. My 3rd order discerning eye of heaven also possesses the fortune-boosting ability of a 3rd order celestial fox vision. In addition, 2 people in our group are at the 6th order, so the gap in cultivation is not that ridiculous. It's not like Dubai influenced the winged tiger's fortune by himself. He had help from all of our fortunes, Tang San thought to himself. Of course he wouldn't and Appo's say this out loud, as he didn't and Appo's want Zhang Haoxuan to know that he had absorbed the celestial fox vision. Anyway, that and Appo's how it turned out. Otherwise, how could we defeat a 7th order winged tiger under normal circumstances? Tang San said with a smile. Zhang Haoxuan looked at him intently, finding it increasingly difficult to see through his newly accepted disciple. Despite being only 9 years old, Tang San always gave him the impression of being very mature. It was truly odd, yet even after all the investigations, it seemed that his background was clean. Little Tang, are you alright? Wu Bingji and Appo's weak voice called out. Tang San responded, eldest senior brother, I and Appo's am fine. How about you? Wu Bingji gasped in pain. He had severe internal and external injuries, which had been somewhat stabilized under Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's treatment. You deserve the pain, going on such a reckless mission to hunt a winged tiger, Zhang Haoshuan said irritably. The mere recollection of last night and Appo's events still frightened him. Wu Bingji and Appo's mouth twitched into a bitter smile. Teacher Shuden and Appo's, you be more concerned about someone who and Appo's only 9 years old but has already broken through to the 6th order? Didn't an Appo's? You hear what he just said? He and Appo's already at the 6th order. Is he even human? He and Appo's 7 years younger than me. Zhang Haoshuan was momentarily startled. His attention hadn't and Appo's been on this before, and even though Tang San had just mentioned a breakthrough, he hadn't really processed the information. Hearing this, he immediately fixed his gaze on Tang San. You've reached the 6th order. Tang San nodded under immense pressure. At the brink of life and death, I made a breakthrough. Didn't and Appo's I tell you and Teacher Guan before that the best way to break through is when facing great pressure, especially during life and death crises? It fully stimulated my potential. Zhang Haoshuan gasped in surprise. 6th order. A 9-year-old at the 6th order. This kid, among all the students of the Redemption Society, he's the second one to reach the 6th order. And he's barely been here for a couple of days. Wait, if I remember correctly, Tang San had just broken through to the 5th order when he arrived. How did he reach the 6th order so quickly? Iasin and Appo's this rate of improvement a bit too fast? Zhang Haoshuan looked at Tang San like a monster, making Tang San uncomfortable. Teacher Don and Appo's look at me like that. I and Appo's am a bit scared. You are scared? You dared to fight a peak 7th order winged tiger, and you're claiming that you know fear? Zhang Haoshuan raised his hand, really wanting to slap his pupil into the ground, but considering the boy was still injured, he held back. Tang San chuckled. It and Appo's not just me who and Appo's made a breakthrough. I think everyone will give you some surprises. Senior Dubai and Senior Guli, after they wake up, should also have the potential for a breakthrough. Upon hearing this, Zhang Haoshuan shivered. You mean the two of them? Tang San nodded and said, Senior Guli and Appo's final moment of freezing time against the tigress exceeded his normal power. At that moment, everyone was facing certain death, and he fell unconscious after that burst of power. He has been at the peak of the 4th order for quite a while now, unable to break through. I think that moment might have been his breakthrough. Senior Dubai and Appo's situation is probably similar. As you said, can a 3rd order celestial fox vision affect the luck of a 7th order winged tiger? Tough call. But what if it and Appo's 4th order? Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's eyes truly lit up. The Chrono Croc transformation and the Celestial Fox transformation are the best bloodlines in the Redemption Society, and the most hoped for. This time both of them advance. Thinking of this, Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's entire mood changed and he clenched his fists. If it and Appo's really as you say, I and Appo's take responsibility for everything that happened and the dangers you faced. Tang San shifted the topic from his breakthrough to the 6th order, asking with a smile, Teacher, what ability does your flame blade have? It and Appo's amazing. To think you could even injure a 9th order winged tiger king. Zhang Haoshuan glanced at him and said, that is my life-bound weapon. It and Appo's fused with my cultivation, crafted by the top demonic beast weapon master from the spine of a 9th order blaze tiger. I obtained it from the organization in exchange for my years of accumulated merits. It takes a long time to gather the energy I need to use it, but it can unleash a powerful attack. Without it, we would have been in big trouble yesterday. Would you guys have survived to see today in Appo's son? Lifebound weapon? What does that mean? Tang San asked curiously. Zhang Haoshuan explained, it and Appo's a weapon that merges with your bloodline, becoming a part of your body. You constantly nurture it using your bloodline energy. It and Appo's an endeavor only those above the 7th order can attempt, because it requires massive bloodline power. Generally, it and Appos is difficult for us humans to achieve. I was just lucky. So that and Appos is how it is. The blaze saber was made from the spine of a blaze tiger, and Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' demonic god transformation was the blaze tiger transformation. They complemented each other so they could grow together. When he used the blaze saber, Zhang Haoshuan could temporarily reach the peak of the ninth order and unleash an incredibly powerful attack. But it required charging up. Purely in terms of strength, he was inferior to the Winged Tiger King, but with the blaze saber as his life-bound weapon, he could seriously injure the Winged Tiger King. Mayor I and Appos am back. A crisp voice rang out. Chang Zicheng had returned, bringing a few pieces of wood with her. Zhang Haoshuan asked Tang San how and Appos your recovery? Can we hit the road now? Zhang Haoshuan said, you and Chang Zicheng carry Bingji and I and Appos. I'll take the two who are unconscious. Let and Appos leave here right now and head straight back to the academy. If what you said is accurate, and the Chrono Croc transformation and Celestial Fox transformation can evolve, it and Appos worth the risk. The most important thing now is to bring these little ones back successfully. After encountering the Ninth Order Winged Tiger King yesterday, who knows what we might face next? It and Appos better to return sooner. Right away, Tang San and Chang Zicheng assembled the pieces of wood into a stretcher and tied them with thin vines, then secured Wu Bingji on top, trying their best to keep him from moving. Carrying this makeshift stretcher, the two of them followed Zhang Haoshuan, who carried Gu Li and Du Bai, one in each hand. With that, the group of 6 set off again, heading back toward the academy. Suddenly, while they were moving as fast as they could, Wu Bingji burst into laughter. Big brother, what are you laughing at? Chang Zicheng turned her head back, looking at him in confusion. We and Appos re-rich. We and Appos re-rich. Wu Bingji said, laughing merrily. Chang Zicheng, who had never seen her senior brother in this state, asked, Big brother Bingji, are you alright? Tang San, following behind, said, he and Appos fine, just injured. He and Appos relaxing now, letting himself go a bit. Wu Bingji kept laughing. We and Appos re-rich, we and Appos re-rich. Yes, they were indeed rich now. Even setting aside their previous gains and the demonic beasts they hunted, the last 2 winged tigers alone were worth a fortune. They had taken down the 6th order winged tiger youngling. Initially, due to the Winged Tiger King, Wu Bingji had thought they would lose half of it. But then the winged tigress had come along, and they had killed it themselves. Zhang Haoshuan had held off the Winged Tiger King, creating an opportunity for them, but they would still get half the profit, right? The peak 7th order winged tiger female was worth more than just 10 Naturi coins, not to mention its intact hide, which could fetch a sky-high price. Even if they had to share with Zhang Haoshuan, it was still a fortune for them. A fortune with a price tag in Naturi coins. Despite the pain of his injuries, Wu Bingji felt at ease lying on the stretcher, watching the scenery zip by, as if his wounds did not bother him in the slightest. Tang San laughed at the sight. Senior brother, now you understand what it means to seek fortune amidst danger. ISN and Appos, this harvest greater than what you and Appos gained from a year of cultivation? Wu Bingji nodded without hesitation. Much more. The gains from these few days were enormous in terms of both material rewards and cultivation. Tang San smiled. Once we get back, you should rest well and heal. We and Appos, LL come back again. Come back again? Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' voice, a bit louder, came from ahead. Grow some sense, will you? We nearly got wiped out. You and Appos, forgotten the pain before even healing? Tang San laughed. Master, no gain without risk. As I just said to the eldest senior brother, we're looking for fortune amidst danger. Shut up, I don't and Appos. Want to hear it, Zhang Haoshuan said irritably. He was injured this time, and the ferocity of the Winged Tiger King was such that even if he managed to kill it, he probably wouldn't and Appos survive. These kids. He almost regretted bringing Tang San into the Redemption Society. Since his arrival, there seemed to be an added element of instability in the academy. But on the other hand, it was also clear that his appearance had triggered some much-needed changes as well. The return journey was relatively smooth. Zhang Haoshuan was a 9th order powerhouse, And even though he was injured, ordinary demonic beasts did not even dare to get close. The moment he released a bit of his aura, all demonic beasts in the vicinity fled for their lives. The return journey took only 2.5 days. From a distance, the Grand Kali Academy was already in sight. Zhang Haoshuan finally breathed a sigh of relief, but his brow was still furrowed with worry, as Gu Li and Du Bai had not regained consciousness yet. Wu Bingji and Appo's injuries had somewhat improved after 2 days of rest. Recovery was and Appo's difficult with his 6th order physique and the ice elemental physique. It would have taken an ordinary person close to 6 months to recover from bone and muscle injuries he had suffered, but he could get back to full health in about half a month. Keep it low-key when we return, and Don and Appo's spread the word. Got it? Zhang Haoshuan reminded them in a low voice. With the two still unconscious, the pressure was all on him. After all, he had fully supported this operation. Don and Appo's worry master Tang San immediately responded, appearing very obedient. Zhang Haoshuan glared at him irritably. Let and Appo's go. When they finally arrived at the academy in the evening, he settled Du Bai and Gu Li in their rooms to rest. Then, taking Wu Bingji, who could barely walk, along with Tang San and Cheng Zicheng, they went straight to the cafeteria. As they pushed open the cafeteria door, all eyes immediately turned to them. Seeing them return, several teachers in the cafeteria stood up. You and Appo's back? Good to have you back, Guanlongjiang said, immediately relieved upon seeing Wu Bingji. He walked over, looked Wu Bingji up and down and asked, Are you injured? Just a small injury. I and Appo's am fine, master, Wu Bingji said with a smile, then added, We hunted down some demonic beasts and brought them back. We and Appo's LL have an extra dish for dinner today. Whoa, hooray for senior brother. The students immediately cheered. The meat of a demonic beast was indeed a rare delicacy. Muanqing looked behind the four. Where are those two lads, Du Bai and Gu Li? Zhang Haoshuan said naturally, they and Appo's expended a lot of their spiritual power and they need to rest, so I and Appo's taken them back to their rooms. Is everything okay? Guanlongjiang asked. Zhang Haoshuan replied, It and Appo's fine. I just need some rest, that and Appo's all. Extra food, time to eat. The extra meal was the meat of the fisher lizard they had hunted on the first day. This 5th order demonic beast and Appo's meat could have been sold for a reasonable sum of money. But now, considering their substantial gains, they didn't and Appo's care about this expense. In addition, the most valuable parts of a 5th order fisher lizard were its scales, bones, and central tendon. Although the meat was also valuable, using it to win people and Appo's hearts rather than their money was by far the best choice. After quickly finishing dinner, Tang San slipped away with Wu Bingji and Cheng Zicheng. If not now, then when? Once Gu Li and Du Bai and Appo's unconscious state was discovered, they would surely face consequences. They could leave, but Zhang Haoshuan couldn't and Appo's After the students ate, they left, but the teachers stayed behind. Si Ru and Appo's expression darkened as he looked at Zhang Haoshuan. Are you injured? What happened? Did something happen to Du Bai and Gu Li? Zhang Haoshuan said, A minor issue, but it and Appo's okay. Indeed, they and Appo's overextended their spiritual power and are now resting. Guanlongjiang became visibly anxious. What happened exactly? Zhang Haoshuan smiled wryly. These kids are quite a handful. But it and Appo's not their fault, probably just bad luck. Mu Yunyu frowned. Wherein and Appo's they with Du Bai? Although the 3rd order celestial fox vision doesn't and Appo's have a direct effect, it should be able to influence luck, right? How could they be unlucky? Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's mouth twitched. Is it excellent luck to encounter a winged tiger king right at the edge of its territory? It wasn't just the kids. I myself almost didn't and Appo's make it back either. He then broadly recounted the experiences of Tang San and the others on their journey, without omissions. As the head of the Redemption Academy and the mayor of Kali Academy Town, he had to make sure that everyone in his team was well aware of everything that was going on. Listening to his story, Mu Yunyu and Appo's face lost color, and the others also showed drastic changes in their expressions. They were almost completely wiped out, Guanlongjiang said with a trembling voice. Muanqing remained silent, while Mu Yunyu exclaimed, "How could you agree to let them go in the first place?" That had happened. Siru snorted coldly. The main issue is that a certain someone here is rather useless. If it had been me, even if it were the winged tiger king, I and Appos, D still bring back its corpse. It and Appos. S just that I prefer not to reveal myself. We can and Appos. T just dispose of a 9th-tier demonic beast and Appos. S corpse easily. It would raise too many suspicions. He was one of the few god-level powerhouses in the entire Redemption Society, and there were no god-level beasts among the demonic beasts, so his claim was an Appos. T an exaggeration. Zhang Haoxuan replied irritably, "Then you should go next time." Next time? Guanlong Zhang and Appos. S voice instantly became agitated. Zhang Haoxuan, what kind of foolish decision is this? Do you realize this time? Guanlong Zhang and Appos. S roaring voice was like a stormy baptism for the mayor. Despite his twitching lips, Zhang Haoxuan could only listen in silence. Cheng Ziqing stuck out her tongue and turned to Tang San asking, "Tang, do you think Brother Guli and Dubai will wake up?" "They won't." Tang San shook his head. "They and Appos. I'll be fine." It and Appos. S just spiritual exhaustion. Their demonic god transformation is not just physical, and their abilities require spiritual power. It's not like they were hit by a spiritual attack. All they did was overexert their demonic god transformation. That means they and Appos, V just drained themselves and their essence was not harmed. I think the reason they're sleeping right now is just their instincts acting so they can heal faster. Haven't you noticed their pulse and breath are very stable? Right, it would be great if they could wake up. Just hope nothing bad happens. Cheng Ziqing clasped her hands and prayed to the sky. Tang San said, "Praying to the sky is useless. Whoever or whatever is there doesn't really seem to love humans." Cheng Ziqing paused for a moment. "That and Appos is true. So what should we do?" Tang San said, "When the opportunity arises, we and Appos LL break through the sky and write new rules." Cheng Ziqing rolled her eyes. "You and Appos? Really talking big, aren't you?" "I and Appos am heading back. I Don and Appos. T want to get caught and scolded by the teachers." With these words she turned and ran off. Wu Bingji, who had been silent by the side, spoke up after she left. "Little Tang, how should we handle our spoils from this time? Should we take inventory?" Tang San smiled. No need. Senior brother, you handle it. Just convert it all into money and distribute it among the team. We can do it this way." Although we killed both winged tigers, the mayor saved us by holding off the winged tiger king. Without him we would have been goners. Let and Appos S give him half of the earnings from the tigress. The rest we can split equally among the 5 of us. Wu Bingji thought for a moment. That sounds good. I and Appos I'll handle it these next few days. We need to divide it properly. I think we Don and Appos T need to sell everything. Let and Appos S keep the winged tiger meat for ourselves. Tiger meat is very nourishing. Tiger bones can be used for medicinal wine or soup to strengthen muscles and bones. We can use it for everyone. What do you think? That sounds great. Let and Appos S all eat the tiger meat together. Although Wu Bingji was fond of money, he was not greedy. As the eldest senior brother, he always considered the whole picture. This adventure was indeed thrilling, and the rewards were also immense. Among these gains, Tang San undoubtedly contributed the most, by teaching them the flicking dart and disorder wind splitting hammer techniques during their journey and turning the tide in dire situations. Next to Tang San, the one with the most significant contribution was naturally Wu Bingji, who had the highest cultivation level. Thus, Wu Bingji first sought Tang San and Appos S opinion when dividing the spoils. Seeing Tang San and Appos S generosity, he was also happy to go along. Of course, it wooed and Appos T be fair to the 5 who risked their lives to distribute all the gains among all the students in the academy. However, setting aside a portion of the demonic beast and Appos S meat and bones to nourish everyone was a sensible decision. After all, the Redemption Society was exactly what its name said, a society. Community. In the face of the demons and nymphs, humans were too weak. Only by progressing together could they enhance their survival capabilities. After parting with Wu Bingji, Tang San noticed the ongoing commotion near the distant cafeteria. Poor mayor, he thought with a hint of amusement. Returning to his room, Tang San reflected on the unexpected nature of their recent adventure. He was willing to take risks because he wanted to enhance his strength rapidly, but if he had known they would encounter an 8th order and a 9th order demonic beast on the same expedition, he would not have taken that particular risk. Did they really have such terrible luck, or was it something else? Fortunately, the outcome was in their favor. He had advanced to the 6th order through this experience, the second time that the result of a close brush with death had brought him from the verge of a breakthrough into the next level. The first, of course, was defeating the Lord of Windwolf Town, which allowed him to break through from the 4th order to the 5th. His advancement speed was phenomenal. However, Tang San was acutely aware that he would no longer be able to make such significant advancements, at least for a while. Not because he couldn't cultivate anymore or that his normal cultivation rate would slow down, but rather because his body was beginning to struggle to keep up with his current cultivation. After all, he was only 9 years old, and his body was not fully developed, especially since he had suffered from malnutrition in his early years. Looking to break through from the 6th to the 7th order represented a significant leap. It was a qualitative transformation that would allow him to enter the realm of high-order demonic god transformation. To achieve this transformation, he needed to reach the necessary level of strength and ensure that his body could withstand this power. Thus, Tang San's focus in the following period was to consolidate his existing abilities and better coordinate them. He aimed to elevate the tiers of his bloodline imprints and, most importantly, to toughen his body. He needed to develop his physique further and strengthen his bones and muscles, ensuring a more robust constitution capable of sustaining the tremendous energy he would acquire in the future. The mysterious heaven technique offered excellent nourishment, and the demonic beast meat and bones they had acquired were also highly beneficial for bodily nourishment. Tang San had already planned how to use the money they earned. Part of it he intended to give to someone he cherished, and the other portion would be used to purchase spiritual herbs for body tempering. The small store in the Redemption Academy had quite a few good items, and although he had lacked the funds before, and he couldn't reveal the money he had anyway, he would soon have even more money and an excuse to spend them. With sufficient funds, he could acquire some valuable items. During the 2-day journey back, Dubai had been stuck at the 3rd order for years now. Everyone always said that the Celestial Fox was the highest tier bloodline in the entire Redemption Society, and that his talent was unique. However, despite years of effort, he had made no progress and had little combat ability. Seeing his companions growing stronger, how could he not feel anxious? But he had no solution. During their recent outing for training, Tang San, Wu Bingji, Gu Li, and Cheng Ziqing had always fought, while he had not. While the others were hunting demons, he just watched from the sidelines. That feeling was like 100 claws scratching at his heart. Particularly in the last battle, he had watched helplessly as Tang San, Wu Bingji, and Gu Li covered their retreat, allowing him and Cheng Ziqing to escape. At that moment, he had truly felt useless. He was a young man with a passionate heart, longing to stand beside his companions and fight against powerful enemies. But he was useless. His presence wouldn't have made a difference. In that instant, his desire, his anger toward himself, and his intense unwillingness caused him a splitting headache, as if his brain was about to explode. What use was the so-called first-tier bloodline of the Celestial Fox? What use was the Celestial Fox vision? He would rather have a lesser bloodline with combat capabilities. At that moment he erupted. He exerted his spiritual power to the fullest, frantically pushing his Celestial Fox vision, praying inwardly for only the safety of his companions. He didn't know if it would help, but that was the only thing he could do. In that instant it was as if something within him shattered. He even thought he saw the distant battlefield, witnessing the dire plight of Tang San and the others. The vision flashed by, and then he was engulfed in darkness. In those final moments, he vaguely remembered a burst of white light emanating from him, enveloping the battlefield afar. When he awoke, he found himself in his room. At first he was groggy, but soon he felt an unusual sensation. Following this feeling, he rose from the bed. As he stepped out of his room and gazed at the sky outside, feeling the changes around him, he suddenly realized he was seeing things quite differently now. His Celestial Fox transformation had evolved. He had finally surpassed the 3rd order and entered the 4th, and it was not just your average improvement, but a unique and incredible evolution. Previously, his celestial fox vision had been more about passive observation and intangible feelings, sensing whose aura was slightly stronger, or who had poorer luck. It could somewhat foresee danger, but he was completely oblivious to the details. However, he now felt a vague ability to influence some aspects of fate. It was as if the threads of the world were within his perception, and he could attempt to manipulate them, causing them to shift according to his will. At that moment, he thought of his companions, and his heart was instantly overwhelmed with ecstatic joy. So he rushed to Tang San to share the exhilarating news. Unexpectedly, Tang San instantly recognized the evolution of his celestial fox vision. Shoo! Tang San gestured at him to keep silent. Keep it down, Don and Appos. T spread the word. Your celestial fox bloodline is a vital secret of the academy. When you were at the third order, it wasn't an Appos. T very noticeable. But the more powerful your celestial fox vision gets, the more important it is, and the greater the danger to you. This must only be shared with our teachers, not even our senior fellow disciples. Got it. Dubai nodded excitedly. Are you all alright? How and Appos? Our eldest senior brother. Don and Appos. T worry everyone and Appos. Fine. Only you and Guli were unconscious. Now that you and Appos reawake, he should be waking up soon too. Dubai heaved a long sigh of relief. That and Appos. Great, truly great. It and Appos. So good that everyone and Appos. Alright. As he spoke, he rushed forward to hug Tang San. With a helpless sigh, Tang San patted him on the back. Calm down, alright? Let and Appos. Report this to our teachers first. Never mind, you can and Appos. T control your emotions right now. I and Appos. Go and bring the teacher here. Just wait here for me. It was still early in the morning, almost time for breakfast. Tang San closed the door and had Dubai wait in his room while he headed straight to the cafeteria. He wasn't an Appos. T looking for the mayor Zhang Haoshuan as the latter didn't an Appos. T actually reside within the academy. The real steward of the academy was Guanlongjiang. In a sense, he was the head of discipline. Thinking back to how Guanlongjiang scolded Zhang Haoshuan yesterday, Tang San couldn't and Appos. T helped but feel amused. His master had taken the brunt of the scolding that he himself should have been subjected to, and he expected to be scolded today too. Yesterday, the primary target was the team-leading mayor because they had just returned. Sneaking into the cafeteria, Tang San immediately spotted Guanlongjiang. Guanlongjiang arrived at the cafeteria every morning to check on the breakfast and ensure everything was arranged for everyone. The canteen was filled with a rich aroma, clearly the scent of meat soup or something similar. It was probably the broth made from the bones of the fisher lizards they had eaten the day before. This was truly nourishing for everyone. Perhaps even the meals at Kali Academy couldn't and Appos. T compare. Teacher Guan, Tang San called out softly. Guanlongjiang turned around, his face darkening upon seeing his pupil. I was just looking for you. Tang San, do you realize? Seeing the fury about to erupt in Guanlongjiang and Appos' eyes, Tang San quickly stepped forward, whispering, Teacher Guan, I have some good news to tell you. Good news? What good news? Asked Guanlongjiang, puzzled. Tang San leaned in close to him and whispered something in his ear. What? Really? Guanlongjiang and Appos' eyes widened instantly, and he completely forgot about scolding Tang San. Is it true? Are you sure? The voice of the stern teacher trembled slightly. Positive, positive. There's no mistake. He felt it too, Tang San affirmed. Where is he? Why didn't an Appos' come with you? Asked Guanlongjiang eagerly. He was too excited and I was worried about exposing him. I think this matter should be kept secret, given its importance. So, I asked him to wait in my room and I came straight to you to report. I think that was the right thing to do. Yes, absolutely right. It must be kept secret, Guanlongjiang said excitedly, rubbing his hands together, barely containing his emotions. Let an Appos' go take me there. I need to see for myself to be sure. Immediately, Tang San led Guanlongjiang to his dormitory door. However, before he could enter, Guanlongjiang pulled him back. Stay here at the door, Don and Appos. Let anyone in. With these words, he pushed the door open and entered, leaving Tang San outside. Tang San and Appos S mouth twitched. This is my room. And now I and Appos am left standing guard. Well, whatever standing guard it is. It seems like I might avoid a scolding today, right? It wasn't an Appos. Long before the door opened again. When Guan Longjiang reappeared before Tang San, his face was beaming. Teacher Guan, how did it go? Tang San asked tentatively. Guan Longjiang laughed heartily. Good, very good. Extremely good. Ha ha ha, Tang San, you and Appos really done a great deed this time. Remember to keep it a secret. For now, let that young man stay out of sight. You take him back to his place, let him stabilize his state and bring his abilities under control. Otherwise, everyone will sense the change in his bloodline. I and Appos am going to find your teacher. Saying this, he hurried off. Tang San returned to his room and saw Dubai and Appos' face still flushed with excitement. Teacher Guan confirmed it. I and Appos made a breakthrough. Ha ha ha. Impressive, Iasin and Appos it? Tang San replied somewhat helplessly. First, you need to control your emotions and stabilize your bloodline fluctuations to be truly impressive. Right now, anyone can tell something in Appos' off with you. When Dubai first came in, Tang San had instantly sensed it. A feeling as if Dubai could disrupt the laws. Yes, disrupt the laws. In this regard, Tang San and Appos' judgment was indeed more accurate than Guan Longjiang and Appos'. What are laws? They are the fundamental principles based on which the world works, the basis for the order of the plane. And when Dubai hugged Tang San, the latter felt a disturbance in this order. Although it wasn't an Appos' enough to change the order, it was undeniable that there was a disturbance. With the celestial fox transformation advancing to the fourth order, its actual effects began manifesting. Tang San distinctly felt its extraordinary nature. However, he still wasn't an Appos' sure what effects Dubai and Appos' fourth order celestial fox vision could produce. But as soon as he got close, he immediately felt something strange. Dubai was full of goodwill toward him, so when Tang San came in contact with him, he felt as if his luck had improved. The flow of his mysterious heaven technique inside his body became smoother. His discerning eye of heaven also resonated with Dubai and Appos' celestial fox vision, absorbing some of Dubai and Appos' aura. Although it wasn't an Appos' through the absorption of the mysterious heaven technique, and it was just minimal, Tang San could feel a slight improvement in his discerning eye of heaven. This meant that as long as he was with Dubai, the discerning eye of heaven could evolve independently, without having to use the mysterious heaven technique to absorb Dubai's energy. This made Tang San think. The celestial fox vision was an ability that controlled fate. Directly absorbing the power of Dubai and Appos' celestial fox transformation would undoubtedly weaken the kid's fate. After reaching the fourth order, Dubai had changed. Absorbing from him again the way Tang San had done before could likely lead to a backlash of fate. It was better to just stay by his side and benefit from his luck. Though the progress would be slower, it wouldn't and Appos' cause any problems. Thus, Tang San was happy to have Dubai by his side. Alright, I get it. It and Appos' just that I and Appos' just broken through. I and Appos' try to control it. The fourth order does seem different, Dubai said excitedly. Tang San nodded. I and Appos' take you back to your room first. I and Appos' bring breakfast to you later. I expect the teachers will be looking for you soon. Okay, thanks, brother. By the way, can I continue to cultivate the purple demon eyes? Dubai asked quietly. Tang San nodded, saying it shouldn't and Appos' be a problem. Your breakthrough to the fourth order must have also increased your spiritual power. Your breakthrough was likely triggered because you felt those very strong emotions, and your bloodline energy practically boiled. But as your spiritual power grows, you'll be able to control the celestial fox vision better, and make future advancements easier. Try cultivating it, and ask me if you notice any changes. We and Appos' talk about it as we go. Plus, if you reach a high enough level, the purple demon eyes can be a weapon to use in combat as well. A weapon? What do you mean? Dubai asked, puzzled. Tang San felt around silently, ensuring no one was nearby. Then he said, well, if you can cultivate your spiritual power high enough, you can use it to launch spiritual attacks. Watch closely. Saying this, he turned to the side, and the next moment, a flash of purple light shone in his eyes. A purple light about an inch long shot out from his eyes, vanishing in a flash. Though it wasn't an Appos T directed at Dubai, he distinctly felt his newly enhanced spiritual power, and the power of luck being significantly suppressed in an instant. It was as if there was a massive beast in front of him. The alarming spiritual shock made him let out a cry of surprise. Once he had merged with the celestial fox transformation, Tang San and Appos spiritual power had condensed into a liquid. Furthermore, he had combined the celestial fox vision with his discerning eye to form the discerning eye of heaven, a fusion of 3 great visual abilities. Finally, the purple demon eyes were an incredible visual technique that Tang San had been cultivating for the longest time. These 3 elements complemented each other perfectly, and Tang San was sure that the power of his purple demon eyes was both greater and more important to him than it had been in his past life at the same level. That day, when confronting the winged tiger, if it Waren and Appos T for the firm control of Gu Li and Wu Bingji, he would have risked revealing this powerful ability to give the winged tiger a proper spiritual shock. He showed this in front of Dubai because he had already taught Dubai the method of cultivating the purple demon eyes, so there was not much to hide at this point. Another reason was to show Dubai how strong he was in this aspect and how promising the purple demon eyes were. He hoped Dubai would improve quickly, as this would also speed up the advancement of his own discerning eye of heaven. Now that Dubai was at the 4th order, it meant that Tang San's bloodline imprint could soon also reach the 4th order. Dubai stared at Tang San dumbfounded. Whoa, that's a thing. And how is your spiritual power so great? Tang San nodded. It comes from cultivating the purple demon eyes. So now you know why I told you that cultivating this could help evolve your celestial fox vision. Aha. Dubai nodded repeatedly. It was precisely because he possessed the celestial fox vision that he could feel just how formidable Tang San and Appos output of spiritual power was in that instant. Oh, by the way, I and Appos V also broken through to the 6th order, Tang San said casually. Dubai stared at him agape and after a long while managed to blurt out, "You absolute freak." Dubai suddenly felt that his breakthrough to the 4th order seemed much less impressive. Tang San is 2 years younger than me, and he's already reached the 6th order. Isn't that the same as the eldest senior brother? Also, he could fight the eldest senior brother to a standstill when he was at the 5th order. Now that he's at the 6th order, doesn't an Appos T that mean he and Appos the strongest of us? And he's the youngest. Where do I even begin to make sense of this? Dubai wanted to say I don't and Appos T want to play with you anymore. But Tang San had just taught him the purple demon eyes, so it wasn't an Appos T easy to say that. With the celestial fox vision entering the 4th order, Dubai felt that Tang San and Appos aura actually seemed even more agreeable to him. He was familiar with this sense of closeness. The better someone in Appos luck, the closer he felt to them. I and Appos am going back to my room. Thanks for pouring cold water on me. That sure helped me stabilize my emotions, Dubai said, looking lost in space. No need to thank me, Tang San said with a slight smile. Who and Appos thanking you? I and Appos am off. In the end, Tang San still accompanied him back to his room, fulfilling his promise to Guanlongjiang, and then went to the cafeteria for breakfast. The broth made with demon beast bones was just superb. A bowl of it and the nourishment made everyone feel warm and tingly. After such a great breakfast, everyone was naturally spirited and lively. This morning it was time for the physical training class taught by teacher Mu Yunyu. Apart from Dubai, Gu Li, and Wu Bingji, all the others gathered in the yard. Teacher Mu Yunyu looked solemnly at the students, saying gravely, "The academy has carefully selected each of you. Your talents rank among the top among humans with the demonic god transformation. You should all be aware of where our demonic god transformation comes from. It and Appos a legacy born from our ancestors and Appos humiliation. So the first thing you must do is to protect yourselves, grow quickly, and become useful individuals. Your adventures bring personal danger and a great loss to the academy and the organization. Today I am warning you that in the future, no matter what task you are doing, you must act within your capabilities and not be rash. Protecting your safety is the key to having a future." While speaking, her rather icy gaze fell on Tang San. Of the 5 who had gone on the mission, Only Tang San and Chang Zicheng attended today and Appo's class. Tang San was the one who had proposed the entire mission. It would be strange if he weren't and Appo's targeted. Tang San appeared humble and contrite, but Mu Yunyu had no intention of letting him off the hook. She sternly said, "Tang San, step forward." Tang San took a step forward. Mu Yunyu slowly approached him. "Do you realize that what you did? What he did is something commendable, and we should praise Tang San for his brave spirit." Mu Yunyu was startled, and so were the other students. They instinctively looked toward the direction of the voice that had just interrupted their teacher. It turned out to be Guanlongjiang. He had an unusually big grin on his face, and he was accompanied by Mayor Zhang Haoshuan, who looked similarly smug, contrasting his disheveled appearance from last night, when he could only sit down passively and take the tongue lashing. The mayor now radiated joy. He was confidently following Guanlongjiang with his hands clasped behind his back and a noticeable hint of pride in his eyes. Mu Yunyu gave Guanlongjiang a puzzled look. Hadn't an Appo's they agreed last night? Today they were supposed to criticize Tang San as a warning to everyone. What if such an incident happened again? Although there had been no casualties, even the mayor had been significantly injured. They had almost lost the academy's best talents in one blow. Guanlongjiang came beside her, patted Tang San and Appo's shoulder and smilingly addressed the other students. "You must be curious about what Wu Bingji, Tang San, and the others have been doing these past few days. Now let me tell you. With the academy and Appo's support, Tang San, Wu Bingji, and 3 others went on a mission to hunt demonic beasts. Initially, I opposed their request, as the demonic beasts they aimed to hunt were too powerful. But then, Tang San told me that flowers that grow in a greenhouse cannot survive the storm. Facing stronger challenges and greater crises better stimulates their potential. After careful consideration, we agreed to their request and let them undertake this mission. You might be wondering what demon they sought to hunt. Well, let me tell you. They chose the winged tiger, a creature that reaches the 7th order at full maturity. Upon hearing this, the students immediately erupted into a buzz of astonishment. A 7th order demonic beast, 7th order. What guts these guys have. As we were worried about their safety, the mayor secretly followed them to provide protection. Along the way, they continuously improved their combat skills and teamwork through battles with demonic beasts, and they are all much stronger now. When they reached the border of the winged tiger territory, they found one immediately, but it was luckily a 6th order winged tiger, not yet an adult. But as you all know, a 6th order demonic beast is much stronger than a 6th order human, due to their formidable bodies. But even in these circumstances, Tang San and his team of 5 successfully killed this 6th order winged tiger and completed their mission, all without the mayor and Appo's assistance. Everyone knew about Wu Bingji and Appo's injuries. They had seen the eldest senior brother in bandages in the cafeteria. But the news of the team killing a 6th order winged tiger left everyone in shock and awe. But wait, there and Appo's more. The winged tiger they killed was indeed not an adult, as I said. However, it had a family, and its parents found the team immediately. Its father, a 9th order winged tiger king, is an incredibly powerful being. The mayor intervened in time, holding off the 9th order winged tiger king. However, the tiger and Appo's mother, a peak 7th order demonic beast, attacked the team as well. Guanlongjiang paused here, and even though the students knew Tang San and his team had returned safely, they couldn't help but feel anxious. At that time they had no reinforcements and could only rely on themselves. The outcome, as you see, is that they all came back. Dubai and Guli returned unconscious, Wu Bingji was seriously injured, and Tang San had minor injuries. But their achievement was remarkable. Although luck played a part, they successfully killed the peak 7th order tigress. It seems impossible now that I say it, but they made it possible. This revelation elicited another wave of astonishment from the students. Their gaze changed as they looked at Tang San and Chang Zicheng. In just over a week of training, they all grew significantly. Tang San was right. Greenhouse flowers cannot withstand the storm. And their achievements are one thing. The more important thing is that in the process of getting there, they all managed to become much stronger. Therefore, after discussing with the mayor, we decided that demonic beast hunting would become an important part of practical training. All of you will take part in this and put your abilities to the test. Considering the exceptional performance of Tang San, Wu Bingji and their team, the Academy has decided that all profits from the 2 winged tigers they had taken down will go to them. However, they offered the tiger meat and bones to the Academy for everyone and Appo's nourishment. Cheers immediately filled the air. The fisher lizard soup was already amazing, but demonic beast meat came in different grades. Namely, the higher order and more ferocious the demon, the better the nourishing effect of its flesh and bones. Tigers were the kings of demonic beasts, so even a lower order tiger would provide amazing nourishment, let alone a 6th order one. As for a peak 7th order tiger, there was no need to even talk about it. They had never even seen something like that, much less eat it. Cheng Zicheng was rather bewildered at the moment. This morning, when she met teacher Mu Yunyu, she was severely reprimanded. In the academy, there were only a few teachers, and Mu Yunyu was the only female teacher. So all female students sought her guidance individually. Just now, it looked like teacher Mu Yunyu was about to make Tang San an example of what not to do. So how did everything change the moment teacher Guan arrived? Mu Yunyu and Appo's face turned sour, and she pinched Guan Longjiang secretly. Unfortunately for her, Guan Longjiang seemed perfectly unfazed. Do all profits go to us? Does this mean that everything valuable aside from flesh and bones now belongs to us? Tang San was overjoyed. This meant at least 5 more Naturi coins, right? Alright, that and Appo's settled. Let and Appo's start the class. Teacher Mu, please continue, Guan Longjiang said with a cheerful smile. Continue my ass. Come with me. Mu Yunyu, not giving him any face, pulled his sleeve and dragged him aside. She had to find out right there and then why Guan Longjiang and Appo's attitude had suddenly changed. Zhang Haoxuan approached Tang San, smiling. Alright, back in line. That was an excellent performance you put up. We and Appo's LL keep doing this in the future. Tang San naturally understood why. Dubai and Appo's evolution of the celestial fox transformation had greatly surprised the teachers. This first-tier demonic god transformation was simply too important for the Redemption Society as a whole. Another god-level fighter would be certainly good, but if Dubai could reach the god level in the future, it might allow the entire organization to reach the threshold of top-tier power. This was because the Celestial Fox Vision was an auxiliary ability, and its primary function was to support other abilities. The fact that the demons respect the Celestial Fox Emperor so much indicates the importance of this support ability. Its appearance among humans means an excellent opportunity for us to evolve. Soon, a bewildered Mu Yunyu returned. The anger on her face had vanished, replaced by a somewhat odd expression, as if she wasn't Appo's sure whether to yell at someone or burst out laughing. She suddenly realized that the most frustrated person shouldn't Appo's be herself but rather her brother, who was responsible for the practical combat classes. Mu Wenqing had taught the students practical combat for a long time, but while the improvements associated with these classes were decent, they were certainly not extraordinary by any means. In other words, Tang San had achieved something in a couple of days that Mu Wenqing hadn't Appo's managed in years. Moreover, Tang San himself was only 9 years old, yet he had already reached the 6th order. This rate of improvement was genuinely terrifying. Everyone set off as usual. We and Appo's LL make a round trip to Tianpeng. Today, everyone in Appo's load will be increased by 20%. Potential needs pressure to be better stimulated. Hearing that their load would increase by 20%, the previously excited crowd suddenly grimaced, but they had no choice but to follow the teacher and Appo's instructions. Mu Yunyu called out to Tang San. Tang San, you stay behind for a moment. While the others went off for physical training, Tang San stayed behind. Mu Yunyu sized him up, her expression somewhat peculiar. Zhang Haoxuan hadn't Appo's left yet, and Guan Longjiang had also returned. Being stared at directly by 3 teachers, even Tang San, who had been a god king, felt a bit nervous. He remembered his teachers back in his past life. Teachers, is there something else? Don and Appo's I need to join the physical training? Tang San pointed towards his classmates, who were gradually moving away. Are you truly at the 6th order now? Mu Yunyu asked. Tang San silently nodded. Seems so. Mu Yunyu and Appo's mouth twitched slightly. This child was 9 years old. 9. As a teacher, she was only at the 7th order. Although the leap from the 6th to the 7th order was certainly significant, facts were facts. And facts said that she, at the ripe old age of 26, was just at the 7th order. Tang San still had plenty of time to catch up. Guanlongjiang murmured, Tang San is at the 6th order, and Dubai broke through to the 4th order. Actually, Gu Li was at a bottleneck earlier, and I am pretty sure he might also advance. Cheng Ziqing has an oppose. T advanced, but her gains this time are an oppose. T small. Entering the 5th order should an oppose. T take too long if we threw in some resources. Bingji also said that his gains were tremendous. This training might be dangerous, but it really is. Mu Yunyu cut him off. Although you and oppose, V reached the 6th order, I must tell you not to try to advance to the 7th order within the next 5 years or so. Your body isn and oppose. T fully developed yet, and if you break through now, your own bloodline power could cause your body to burst apart. I don and oppose. T think I have to explain what that means. You and oppose. Re young and prone to impulsiveness, but remember this for your own life and oppose. S sake. Yes, teacher Mu. Feel it too. So, I and oppose. LL definitely work on strengthening my body and improving my endurance. Actually, this breakthrough to the 6th order happened by chance. During the battle, some wind attribute energy from that winged tiger infused into my body, and somehow I broke through. But now I often feel pain in my meridians and my body is struggling to cope. I and oppose. LL need to focus on improving that for a while. Hearing this, Mu Yunyu and oppose. S expression softened considerably. It and oppose. S good that you understand. Now focus on accumulating strength and solidifying your foundation. Tang Sen nodded once more. Mu Yunyu turned her head to look at Guanlongjiang, thinking the 6th order he and oppose. S reached the 6th order just like that? Guanlongjiang looked at her, then at Zhang Haoshuan, who had a mysterious smile. They suddenly wondered if Zhang Haoshuan had already known about Tang San and oppose. S potential. If it were an and oppose, T for the difference in their demonic god transformation, they might have even suspected that Tang San was Zhang Haoshuan and oppose. S illegitimate son. Alright, go join the training. Eat more of the demonic beast meat. Keep the blood of the winged tiger to nourish your body. Also, demonic beasts above the 7th order have inner cores. You could consider keeping the inner core of the 7th order mother tiger for yourself. It and oppose. S of the wind attribute and might improve your control over the wind element. You might even manage to develop a wind elemental physique. Tang San was tempted, but he immediately said, keeping the demonic beast and oppose. S blood for personal use is fine, but let and oppose. S sell the inner core. After all, it was obtained by all of us together. Demonic beasts at or above the 7th order were far more valuable than 6th order ones because of their inner cores, solidified energy practically. Although a 7th order demonic beast was an oppose, T powerful enough to use its core for actual attacks, it was nonetheless the crystallized essence of their entire cultivation. It was by far the most valuable part of a 7th order demonic beast. Guanlongjiang said, considering how you all fought, I don and oppose. T think anyone would object. Just take less of the other things. Tang San firmly replied, no let and oppose. S sell it and divide the proceeds among everyone. Teacher I and oppose. V just broken through to the 6th order, and using the winged tiger and oppose. S inner core now might be too much for my body. I need to strengthen that first. As for the inner core, there might be another opportunity in the future. Let and oppose. S do that then. It and oppose. S more important to condition your body well. Zhang Haoshuan somewhat understood why Tang San refused the inner core. This kid didn't and oppose. T have just one kind of demonic god transformation. Whether consuming an inner core would be helpful or restrict him in the future was hard to say. Tang San indeed had that exact idea. He had no interest in cultivating a wind elemental body, believing that he could display abilities comparable to that of a wind elemental physique as long as he had sufficient spiritual power. However, cultivating a wind elemental physique would make his cultivation shift decisively toward the wind attribute, which was not what he desired. Mu Yunyu said that in oppose. S good as long as you know your foundation ISN and oppose. T stable. Go and join the weight training. Your weight load will be doubled since you and oppose. Already at the 6th order. Yes. Tang San turned and left for his weighted mountain climbing exercise. Watching his departing figure, Guan Longjiang Kuden and Appos, T helped but say, this kid is simply a prodigy. He and Appos got nothing but a mere wind wolf transformation, yet he advanced so quickly. And I and Appos heard from Bingji that he and Appos gotten a lot of advice on element control from Tang San, and that and Appos why he managed to improve his abilities the way he did. Zhang Haoshuan chuckled. Do you think I would have taken him as my disciple so easily if I hadn't and Appos T discovered his talent? Seeing his confident demeanor, Guan Longjiang snapped, this time, you were just lucky with your adventure. If it had failed, I wonder how you would have explained it to the organization. Zhang Haoshuan replied with a sheepish smile, alright, we won and Appos T go next time. Guan Longjiang mused, Don and Appos T be stupid, we and Appos LL still go, but we really have to enhance the safety measures. This time was dangerous, but as Tang San said, the effect under external pressure and intense stimulation was outstanding. Tang San advanced to the 6th order and Dubai to the 4th. Guli hasn't and Appos T woken up yet. Bingji and Zicheng also made significant gains. A period of consolidation should bring even better results. This kind of real combat training benefits the children's growth. We need to perfect this approach, not deny it. Zhang Haoshuan looked at him and laughed. Wasn't an Appos T at you who scolded me severely yesterday? Iasin and Appos T, there's something you need to take care of in your town? Go and deal with it. As the mayor, you shouldn't and Appos T be wasting your time here. I and Appos am going to check on Dubai. Saying this, Guan Longjiang turned and left. Guli also woke up that night but was severely overdrawn, and his cultivation had not recovered. He needed to meditate and regulate his breathing to recuperate. Tang San and his team a portion of the demonic beast meat they had hunted and brought back, selling most of the remainder to the academy in exchange for Naturi coins. Wu Bingji was also handling the sale of other parts of the demonic beasts, which was expected to be monetized in about 2 to 3 days. Tang San kept a low profile, attending classes and training daily to stabilize his recently achieved 6th order cultivation. At the same time, he practiced the mysterious heaven technique to nurture his body. 2 days later, good news came one after another. Guli and Cheng Zicheng both broke through to the 5th order. The 5-member team all advanced in their cultivation, except for Wu Bingji, who had just recently entered the 6th order. This success led the academy to fully endorse their method of practical training. Although risky, the results were excellent. In particular, the evolution of the Celestial Fox transformation and Chrono Croc transformation brought great joy and celebration to the entire Redemption Society. An even more exciting moment had arrived for Tang San and the 4 others. Dubai excitedly burst into Tang San and Appos' room, urging him to get up. Let and Appos' go. The eldest senior brother called us over to divide the money. Oh, time to split the cash? Tang San and Appos' eyes lit up and he was thrilled beyond measure. When they arrived in Wu Bingji and Appos' room, Guli and Cheng Zicheng had already arrived. Everyone in Appos' face was brimming with joy. Dubai rubbed his hands together and said with a giggling smile, Big brother, how much is it in total? Let's divide it up. Haha, I can't and Appos' wait any longer. Wu Bingji chuckled. Now that everyone in Appos' here, let me tally it up for you. This time around we bagged 20 demonic beasts, including 2 winged tigers. One was a peak 7th order winged tiger, and the other was a younger 6th order. The rest were 5th order or lower. The big ticket item is the 7th order beast in Appos' inner core, but their scales, skins, sinews, bones, and unique bits are also pretty valuable. I won and Appos' break down the prices for each part right now. The academy snagged the meat and bones of the demonic beasts since they bought them straight up, definitely at a discount. They got them for 70% of what they and Appos' normally go for. That and Appos' acceptable though. If we tried to sell them ourselves, we wouldn't and Appos' have gotten full price because it was just too much all at once. It was easier to let the academy handle it, so I said yes for us. We held on to all the blood from the demonic beasts, and the academy will use it to beef us up. Using demonic beast blood is a fancy way to train, and normally we really couldn't and Appos' T afford that luxury, but luckily we scored plenty of it this time. It and Oppos. LL take a while to get everything ready, but it and Oppos. S all going to benefit us in the end. The remaining parts were sold for money, totaling 28 Naturi coins. It was originally just over 27, but the mayor approved an increase to 28. As we agreed before we left, we and Oppos, LL split it evenly. First, everyone takes 5 Naturi coins. As he spoke, he pulled out a bag and gently shook it in front of him. Instantly, Naturi coins tumbled out one by one. All 28 coins appeared, causing the elemental fluctuations within the entire room to intensify. This was truly a lot of money. They had never seen so much before. These were not Demon's Heart coins or Etherhorn coins, but Naturi coins. The purchasing power of Naturi coins was impressive on its own, but they were also highly beneficial for cultivation, making them treasures in their own right. These Naturi coins have different attributes, they and Oppos. Re not the same. Pick yours now. I and Oppos. LL take the ice attribute ones, of course. The rest is up for your pick, go ahead. All 4 of them joyfully took 5 coins each. The attributes were not that important to them. Using Naturi coins for cultivation was a luxury that most people could not afford. After they had divided the coins, 3 Naturi coins remained on the table. Wu Bingji said, Tang-san, take them. Tang-san blinked, puzzled, and looked at the elder brother. Elder brother, did you buy something for everyone to share? Wu Bingji shook his head, saying, no way, you totally earned this. I and Oppos, am sure the others would agree. You and Oppos, we've been leading us the whole time. If it weren't and Oppos, T for your calls when we faced those demonic beasts, we wouldn't and Oppos. T have gotten even close to what we did. Don and Oppos, T rushed to say no. Plus, you taught me the flicking dart and showed Gu Li and Chang Zicheng the disorder wind-splitting hammer. Don and Oppos, T think that we forgot about that favor. So Don and Oppos, T be shy about it, we wouldn't and Oppos. T even have been on this training if it wasn't an Oppos. T for your idea. Just accept it. Yeah, I and Oppos. V also learned from little Tang, Dubai quickly added. However, Tang-san nudged him, stopping him just before he mentioned the purple demon eyes. Tang-san responded, then I won and Oppos. T stand on ceremony with everyone. If you all agree, I and Oppos, LL take it. I sure did teach you, but you Don and Oppos. T have the slightest idea what I and Oppos, V gained from you myself. Such naive children. Indeed, you are all part of my nurturing plan. Well, except for the eldest brother. 8 Naturi coins were a huge sum for Tang-san. Together with what he had previously acquired from Feng Xiong, he now felt extraordinarily wealthy. 1 Naturi coin was equivalent to 100 Etherhorn coins, or 10,000 Demon's Heart coins. If he converted everything into Demon's Heart coins, his total assets now exceeded 100,000, so it wasn't an exaggeration to say he was immensely wealthy. Everyone put away their Naturi coins. Although Tang-san had received the most, everyone else had 5 coins each, the greatest amount of money they had ever seen. Naturally, all 5 of them were beaming with happiness. When are we going again, little Tang? With this one sentence, Dubai drew everyone and Oppos' attention to Tang-san. Indeed, when and where were they going next? The gains from this training were enormous. Not to mention the 5 Naturi coins per person, but most importantly, both Dubai and Gu Li had advanced a level, a major challenge. Chang Zicheng and Tang-san himself had also advanced. Such improvements were beyond their wildest dreams before. Dubai and Gu Li had always feared they might be stuck at a bottleneck for life. Now, having broken through, the perilous training process seemed a small price to pay compared to their gains. As the saying goes, once the wound heals, the pain is forgotten. Moreover, the increase in their strength greatly boosted their confidence. With such a rate of improvement, more training expeditions could naturally lead to even further advancements. Wu Bingji also turned his gaze toward Tang-san. He was the only one among the 5 who had not advanced this time, so Tang-san's successive advancements filled him with envy. Once he advanced again, he would truly reach a higher level, the 7th order, a watershed level. Only those who reached the 7th order were able to truly have a say in anything that was going on around them. Tang-san said, we can and Oppos. T just rush things, guys. We and Oppos. V made some serious gains and everyone in Oppos' leveled up, which is awesome. But it and Oppos' It's not all about this one adventure. Much of it comes down to your hard work before we even started. Each of you hit a tough spot and was stuck for a while, and this chance helped you smash through. The thing is, cultivation isn and oppos. T just about the thrills and pushing limits, it and oppos. S also about building and soaking in what we and oppos. V learned. First, let's dig into all the cool stuff we and oppos. V managed to pick up this time. Once we and oppos V got that down, we can figure out our next big move. Wu Bingji nodded and responded, little Tang and oppos. S got a point. We and oppos V leveled up this time, and you guys took some really big steps forward. You should solidify your new skills before we think about going out again. Teacher Guan said they might be taking other students for mountain training later, but that and oppos S not for us. The teachers think we should keep building on what we and oppos V got for now. Dubai and Guli were visibly disappointed, but they didn't and oppos T object. Tang San smiled and proposed, how about we set some goals? Guli, you need to practice the disorder wind splitting hammer until you absolutely nail it. Try to hit 18 strikes smoothly. Chang Zicheng, try to pull off 3 strikes of the golden wing wind splitting slash. And Dubai, you work on the basics of that spiritual power method I showed you. You need to be able to use it a little. Once we all hit these marks, we can think about heading out for another adventure. Sound good? I have no issues, Guli said without hesitation, then quickly added, little Tang, what method of cultivating spiritual power did you teach Dubai? Can I learn it too? This was a reasonable request. After all, the Chrono Croc transformation also required strong spiritual power as a support. However, Tang San thought momentarily and replied, it might not work out. This training method needs you to be able to control spiritual power. Dubai hasn't an oppos T got it down yet either. Plus, your Chrono Croc just leveled up. Maybe hold off on trying this for now. I and oppos am worried it could go sideways if you try it too early. Disappointed, Guli said, alright then. I and oppos LL focus on the hammer first. Once I and oppos V mastered it, I and oppos LL take care of that Zhang Zabin, ha. With a smile, Tang San said, we and oppos V earned so much money this time. The most important thing for us is to convert this money into strength. We can start preparing for the purchase. I agree. Chang Zicheng immediately raised her hand, her face full of excitement. Tang San snickered. What girl doesn't in oppos T like shopping? Girls of all ages are the same in this regard. Let and oppos S go to the shop. Dubai, holding the Naturi coins in hand, turned to leave. Wu Bingji shook his head slightly, saying, Tang San, what about me? To what extent should I cultivate before going out for experience? Tang San looked at Wu Bingji, thought for a moment, and said, once you and oppos V gotten to the point where you can actually produce ice needles, I think that will be the time. Okay. Wu Bingji nodded without hesitation. Although his injuries had not fully healed, he had been working hard on controlling the ice element. Thanks to Tang San and oppos S guidance, his understanding of the ice element deepened significantly. Let and oppos S go then off to the shop. I think the one who and oppos S going to be getting rich is Sister Yu, Wu Bingji laughed. The 5 of them left Wu Bingji and oppos S room. With money in their pockets, they felt confident. Dubai, leading the way, walked briskly toward the shop managed by Mu Yunyu. When they arrived at the shop, Mu Yunyu was in the process of tidying up the counter. Seeing the 5 of them together, she couldn't and oppos T help but smile and say, oh my, our little tycoons have arrived. What an oppos S it going to be? A big purchase today? Tang San responded with a chuckle, Sister Yu, we and oppos Re here to buy things. Since we and oppos Re all buying together, could you give us a discount? Discount? No way. Don and oppos T think I don and oppos T know how much you and oppos earned. Do you still want a discount? Don and oppos T you know what envy, jealousy, and hatred mean? Not fleecing you is already very kind of me, Mu Yunyu said with a playful smile. Dubai protested, Sister Yu, you can and oppos T do this. If you and oppos Re we might as well shop in the city. There might be even better things there. Mu Yunyu was unfazed. Sure, go ahead. You and oppos Re free to go. The city has many good things, but the key is whether they and oppos Re willing to sell to you. Not even all the demons are qualified to shop there. So what makes you think they and Appos? D sell things to vassals? You can try it if you want. Tang San and Appos' mind stirred upon hearing this. This was the first time he and Appos' heard this, but it made sense. It seemed that vassals were discriminated against even when it came to purchasing things. Wu Bingji smiled. Sister Yu Don and Appos' listened to Dubai and Appos' nonsense. We and Appos' I'll start picking out what we need. While speaking, he gave the others a telling look. Mu Yunyu, very composed, said, Go ahead. Note down whatever you fancy and come to settle the bill together at the end. You can get the items in batches. Many treasures needed special care. Taking them all at once could result in major losses in effectiveness. Her offer for them to collect items in batches meant that she agreed to store the purchased items for them unconditionally. The five didn't and Appos' say much more and immediately started selecting items. The shop had a wide variety of items. They had all been here before, but when it came to buying, Wu Bingji, the eldest senior brother, was the only one with actual experience. His savings were substantial, so he had shopped here a few times. Guli had also bought things once or twice. As for Dubai, Tang San and Chang Zicheng, this was their first purchase. Dubai and Guli usually received more care due to their exceptional talents. Their ability to evolve was crucial for the academy, which naturally led to an allotment bias toward them. However, some of the precious items in the shop had been acquired at a significant cost, and the academy couldn't and Appos' just give them away, especially since the two students hadn't and Appos' made breakthroughs in years. Mu Yunyu said, If you need any recommendations from a teacher, come find me. Seeing the five of them, she felt delighted. She was well aware that the total earnings of these five exceeded 20 Naturi coins, as the two winged tigers they had hunted down were extremely valuable. That one inner core alone was probably more than 5 Naturi coins. Oh right. The second batch of students going for the hunting experience will depart tomorrow. Again 5 people. And after they return, there will be a third batch. You and Appos' conveniently divided into 3 groups. So, if you see something good, hurry up and buy it before others return and grab it. Some items in my shop are unique, and once they and Appos' gone, they and Appos' gone. While Tang San browsed the display case, he couldn't and Appos' help but smile at Mu Yunyu and Appos' sales tactics, which were quite ordinary. Setting aside the high value of the items here, considering the earnings, could the second group of students going for the beast hunting achieve the same gain as them? It seemed highly unlikely. Dubai and Appos' lack of combat power meant that their group was practically one member short when it came to battles, but that was compensated by the 6th order Wu Bingji. Tang San himself had played a crucial role, and so had Guli and Appos' Chrono Croc transformation. Chang Zicheng and Appos' reconnaissance support and Dubai and Appos' luck enhancement were also very important. As for the leaders of the other 2 groups, they were only at the 5th order, and the groups and Appos' overall abilities were also weaker than Tang San and Appos' group. Most importantly, how could they possibly make such incredible gains without Tang San? Tang San had already planned what to buy. After carefully looking around during his last visit, he had noted some precious items that suited him. He quickly selected his desired items, noted their numbers, and walked back to Mu Yunyu. Sister Yu, I want these items, Tang San said, handing over the numbers he had recorded to Mu Yunyu. Mu Yunyu checked the list against her inventory, quickly jotting down what Tang San wanted. After transcribing the full list, she couldn't and Appos' helped but express surprise. What are these items you and Appos' getting? The dragon tendon fruit is quite suitable for refining meridians. You and Appos' pretty generous. This single dragon tendon fruit is worth 1 Naturi coin. But what use do you have for this green jade vine? It and Appos' just a low-level demonic beast, we use it for binding things. Are you buying it for rope? It moves on its own, you know? It and Appos' not stable at all. And this, what do you need this for? Sharp crystal gold? What use do you have for this rare metal? It can and Appos' even be used as demon's hard coins, as it contains no inherent energy. And this black crow stone. What an Appos' the use of that? And you and Appos' buying so much of it. It might be hard, but it also contains no energy. Do you have too much money? Are your palms itching? Listening to Mu Yunyu and Appo's string of reprimands, Tang San couldn't and Appo's helped but show a wry smile. Sister Yu, I do have a use for them. What use? With the amount you and Appo's rebuying these 4 items together will cost 2 Naturi coins. Do you even know what sharp crystal gold is used for? This is the least useful of them. Women use it for jewelry. Demons use it as a gemstone because it has a beautiful color and a nice luster. Basically, it and Appo's just popular and expensive due to its scarcity, not because it has any incredible properties. What does a boy like you want with it? Are you planning to make jewelry for a girl? Have you taken a fancy to Cheng Zicheng? Tang San didn't and Appo's know what to say. He knew Mu Yunyu meant well, but he indeed had a use for these items. Ah, do you have a crush on me? No way, Tang San. I Don and Appo's like younger guys. Don and Appo's even think about it. Get that idea out of your head. Cheng Zicheng, with her sharp ears, overheard the conversation and immediately rejected him without hesitation. But then, remembering Tang San and Appo's good qualities, she added, Tang San, I know you and Appo's a good person, but we and Appo's still young. We should focus on cultivating and studying. Tang San and Appo's mouth twitched slightly. What the hell am I getting A and Appo's nice guy and Appo's tag now? Sister Yu, I'll really have a use for these. Black crow stone and sharp crystal gold are both very tough, and they have some characteristics that I need. Sharp crystal gold has no elemental properties. Yes, but it actually repels all elements. I and Appo's am thinking of using it to forge a weapon. It would be easier to break through elemental defenses. Think of the winged tiger we encountered. The winged tiger has the wind astral ability, so my wind blades are completely useless against it. I want to make myself a weapon that I can use in combination with the wind blades. I want black crow stone for the same reason, and since it and Appo's cheaper, I and Appo's LL buy more of it. Sharp crystal gold is too expensive, so I and Appo's LL just buy a little to try out. Forge a weapon? Mu Yunyu was taken aback, as this was the first time she had heard about using sharp crystal gold to make weapons. It was certainly a costly endeavor. The piece Tang San wanted was only the size of a baby and Appo's fist, yet it was worth almost 1 entire Naturi coin. She felt it to be a useless expenditure. Black crow stone, on the other hand, wasn't very expensive. This material didn't and Appo's repel elements. Its only advantage was its hardness. Tang San bought a lot, about 1 cubic meter. If it were an and Appo's for the fact that Kali City didn't and Appo's produce black crow stone, it wouldn't and Appo's be worth much at all. Do whatever you want. After all, it and Appo's your money, and how you spend it is up to you, Mu Yunyu said irritably. Thank you, Sister Yu. In total, the things he needed came to 2 Naturi coins and 35 Etherhorn coins. The most expensive items were the dragon tendon fruit and sharp crystal gold. The green jade vine and black crow stone didn't and Appo's cost much. Tang San was satisfied with his purchases. He didn't and Appo's need the shop to keep them in storage for him. He could just take everything straight to his room. Dubai beckoned to Tang San. Little Tang, help me decide what to buy. Should I also get a dragon tendon fruit? There and Appo's still one left. Tang San approached him and said, Don and Appo's buy the dragon tendon fruit. Instead, I suggest that senior sister Zicheng should buy it. It and Appo's too expensive. I can and Appo's bear to spend that much, Cheng Zicheng said, looking like a miser. Tang San smiled and said, how can you catch a wolf if you don and Appo's put a sheep as bait? Senior sister, the biggest problem with your golden wing wind splitting slash is the fact that your toughness is lacking. And not only does the recoil make you unable to use it more than once, but you also run the risk of injuring yourself. You know that, Don and Appo's you? Well, look at the description of the dragon tendon fruit. Its greatest benefit is strengthening tendons and bones. I think if you use one, not only will it solidify your 5th order cultivation, but it will also make your body stronger, so it and Appo's LL be much easier on you when you use the golden wing wind splitting slash. It and Appo's worth a try. Really? Cheng Zicheng looked at the long dark purple fruit, still hesitant. I think it and Appo's a good idea too. Wu Bingji came over. He had already chosen his items, which were naturally all related to ice attributes. He was now at the early stage of 6th order, so his priority was to improve his cultivation. Therefore, he selected items that would enhance his perception of the ice element and the richness of his bloodline. He didn't and oppose tea by much, as the Naturi coins themselves were excellent for cultivation. He hadn't and oppose tea tried to use them before because he simply couldn't and oppose tea afford it, but he was ready to try it this time. Okay, then I and oppose LL buy one. It and oppose so expensive. Chang Zicheng stuck out her tongue and decided to buy the last dragon tendon fruit. What about me? What should I buy? Do buy, asked Tang San for help. Tang San smiled and said, you and senior brother Guli need items that improve spiritual power. You should focus on that. You have just broken through, and your spiritual power is snowballing. If you use a couple of elixirs that enhance spiritual power, you can quickly stabilize your cultivation and you and oppose LL be able to progress faster. There Waren and oppose tea many elixirs for enhancing spiritual power in the small shop, just 2 or 3 types. Dubai discussed with Guli, and they split them evenly, buying everything available. However, the elixirs for enhancing spiritual power were extremely expensive. Together, they spent 6 Naturi coins, 3 each, which made them so reluctant to pay that they refused to buy anything else. Tang San didn't and oppose tea recommend Dubai to enhance his physical qualities now because he was innately too weak in that aspect. Even with enhancement, achieving the same level of toughness as others was almost impossible. Focusing on spiritual power was a better choice, especially since that was where the actual utility of the celestial fox transformation lay. Only by enhancing his spiritual power sufficiently could there be a possibility for the celestial fox transformation to continue advancing. After completing their purchases, the 5 of them spent over 10 Naturi coins in total. Mu Yunyu looked delighted. In a great mood, she personally saw them out of the shop. Remember to use the elixirs promptly when you get back. Don and oppose tea waste their potency. You and oppose welcome to visit again. After Tang San and the others left, someone emerged from behind the shop, Guanlong Jiang. Without turning her head, Mu Yunyu said, why not give these kids a bit of a discount? Shuden and oppose tea we support them more? Guanlong Jiang smiled slightly in response. This is what we call and oppose, spreading the dew evenly and oppose. Their gains this time were too great, and they weren't and oppose tea short of money. What we earn from them naturally should be used to subsidize the other children. Who told them to make money so quickly? Keep a close eye on them here. Tomorrow I and oppose LL go with your brother to protect the second group going out for field training. It might take up to 10 days before they can return. I hope they also have a good harvest. I also want to see if this real-life field training is effective. Mu Yunyu said among these 5 children for advanced in cultivation, and they even brought back so many demonic beasts. The facts speak for themselves. It and oppose hard to complain. That kid Tang San really has some methods. I heard from Zicheng that the overall commander during this operation wasn't an oppose T Wu Bingji but Tang San. Although Wu Bingji is their eldest senior brother, they all seem to be looking to Tang San for directions now. Guan Longjiang nodded. This kid seems to have a special charisma. He and oppose a natural-born leader. I hope he can continue to grow with this momentum. On the other hand, your brother is pretty frustrated. He and oppose been teaching practical combat for so long, but Dubai and Guli were stuck at the same order for years. And yet, after going out with Tang San for a few days, they both broke through. Yesterday, your brother even told me that for the second batch going out for training, we shouldn't and oppose intervene unless they are actually facing death. Let them experience the taste of hovering on the edge of life and death, he said. He and oppose really determined this time. Mu Yunyu said with a hint of helplessness, then I and oppose I'll have to worry about the kids in the second batch for a bit. Don and oppose go too far though. Safety first. Don and oppose worry. It and oppose not like they and oppose LL encounter a situation like the Winged Tiger King every time, Guanlong Jiang reassured her. Tang San and the other 4 returned to their rooms. Each having purchased valuable items, they were naturally eager to use them immediately. Tang San put the sharp crystal gold and black crow stone into his spatial storage bag. He wooed and oppose used them for the time being, but his lips were curled up in satisfaction. Although he spent over 2 Naturi coins today, Tang San knew it was worth it. The dragon tendon fruit was a solid investment. It was the ideal medicine for him right now. It would help him toughen up and refine his meridians, as well as enhance his overall physical quality, allowing him to withstand the energy of his 6th order cultivation. Moreover, it would accelerate his bodily growth. With the addition of demonic beast meat and blood, Tang San was sure that his frailty would soon be a thing of the past. What he said to Mu Yunyu was sincere. He needed to let his body continue to grow to break through to higher realms. After all, he was only 9 years old, and his body struggled to handle the internal energy, which was a significant issue. Even though he was a god king in his previous life, cultivating the mysterious heaven technique to the 3rd order at his age would have been very good under normal circumstances. The only reason he had been able to achieve such a high cultivation was due to the devouring ability, which allowed him to accelerate his progress. However, his physical growth couldn't keep up with the speed of his cultivation advancement. Tang San didn't rush to consume the dragon tendon fruit to temper his body. It could be taken within 3 days. Instead, he turned his attention to the green jade vine. True to its name, the green jade vine was a mix of green and white, giving it a translucent appearance. It had a unique texture, soft to the touch, and exuded a faint warmth. The green jade vine that Tang San had bought was over 3 meters long and as thick as a baby and Appo's arm. It was confined within a cage, and it constantly twisted and turned inside like an impatient snake. Although it was called vine, it was not a plant but a demonic beast, a 2nd order one. If it could awaken its spiritual intelligence, it could theoretically become a nymph. Unfortunately, it hadn't awakening spiritual intelligence was not an easy feat, after all. In addition, it was deemed inedible by the demon races, even though it had some energy that could be consumed. Practically, its only worth lay in its toughness. The green jade vine was easy to maintain. With water and sunlight, it was practically indestructible, displaying remarkable vitality. It commonly thrived in deep mountain forests. It wasn't aggressive and it didn't feel pain either. As Tang San gazed at the green jade vine with its jade-like luster, a hint of nostalgia flickered in his eyes. He opened the cage and released the vine. As soon as it was out of the cage, the green jade vine seemed to sense something and immediately became active, wriggling and crawling on the ground. Instinctively, it sought out a water source. Tang San waved his right hand, summoning a gentle breeze that swept up the green jade vine, bringing it into his hand. The green jade vine was warm and smooth, but as soon as Tang San grasped it, it started to coil, winding itself around his arm. This was an instinctive reaction. Although not adept at attacking once touched, it would immediately use its toughness to entangle the entity that touched it. Some weaker demonic beasts would be strangled to death by it. As the 3-meter-long green jade vine wrapped around him, Tang San and Appo's eyes twinkled, and he activated his mysterious heaven technique. The green jade vine suddenly trembled violently. The faintly visible green halo surrounding it instantly dimmed, and in just a moment it withered, losing its power to entangle and limply falling to the ground. With a shake of his right hand, Tang San and Appo's devouring ability was pushed up to the maximum, and the shriveled green jade vine instantly turned into fine powder. He closed his eyes, silently sensing the existence he had just absorbed into his body. This section of the green jade vine was very cheap, the cheapest among the 4 items he had purchased, costing only 5 Etherhorn coins. And even this price was because the green jade vine was alive and living demonic beasts were generally priced higher. As Mu Yunyu said, it was basically a living rope. Tang San and Appo's energy vortex operated naturally, expelling some random impurities from his body, and a faint green-white bloodline imprint appeared within the energy vortex. From his previous experience devouring the mother-winged tiger, Tang San had learned that demonic beasts could also form bloodline imprints. The green jade vine was also considered a demonic beast, albeit a weaker one, and naturally it could manifest an imprint as well. The first time he entered the small shop, Tang San had seen it, but at that time he hadn't decided. Upon his return, among all 4 items, what he wanted to buy the most was not the other 3 valuable items but this green jade vine. This was why he had eagerly taken out the green jade vine first. After purifying the weak green jade vine imprint of impurities, it was equivalent to a first-order imprint, and a very weak one to boot. Yet a hint of joy appeared on Tang San and Appo's face. The next moment, he exerted his spiritual power and placed the small green jade vine imprint into the sixth and most recent opening, ranking it last among all six. Indeed, he had chosen the bloodline imprint of such a weak vine-like demonic beast as his sixth imprint. The green jade vine imprint stayed firmly in place, emitting a soft, gentle glow of green jade. It was almost negligible compared to the other 5 imprints, but the joy on Tang San and Appo's face was particularly evident. Taking a deep breath and channeling the energy of the mysterious heaven technique, Tang San raised his right hand. Instantly, a small cluster of green light gathered in the palm of his hand, gradually taking the form of the green jade vine. The green jade vine, now more slender than the one he had devoured earlier, slowly elongated under Tang San and Appo's control. It wrapped around him, moving according to his will and morphing into various shapes. This was Tang San and Appo's sixth bloodline imprint and the only one that looked like a plant. It was just of the first order and the weakest one by far. Yet, Tang San and Appo's eyes were filled with a sense of wonder no weaker than when he had integrated the celestial fox transformation. In the world known as the Douluo continent, there existed something called a martial soul. Upon reaching the age of 6, everyone participated in a martial soul awakening ceremony. A martial soul could be anything really. They were incredibly diverse. There were beast martial souls and tool martial souls. Among the people who awakened their martial soul, a few would also develop a type of energy called soul power. By cultivating this soul power, they could enhance the might of their martial soul. Such individuals were called soul masters, and they were the world and Appo's most powerful and revered beings. In his previous life, Tang San also awakened his martial soul at the age of 6. Unlike others who had only one martial soul, he had 2. One of them, which accompanied him throughout his previous life, was an inherently weak entity known as the blue-silver grass. And at this moment, the green jade vine he had merged with was the closest in aura and properties to the blue-silver grass among all the plants he had encountered in this world thus far. Despite the weakness of the green jade vine in Tang San and Appo's heart, it was as if he had returned to his previous life, back to the moment when he first awakened. Blue-silver grass, green jade vine. And that person from all those years ago. I am Shao Wu and Appo's, as in and Appo's, dance, and Appo's. Closing his eyes and taking a deep breath, Tang San pursed his lips and retracted the green jade vine. Though it was terribly weak now, who was to say it would and Appo's become incredibly versatile in his hands in the future? 1/3 of the students were out for practical experience, and with both Guanlongjiang and Mu Wenqing absent, the primary teaching duties were taken over by Mu Yunyu. Siru hardly ever appeared in front of the students, and Tang San had no idea what he was up to. After a morning of physical training that exhausted everyone, Tang San sought out Mu Yunyu before lunch, telling her he wanted to take the afternoon off to go into the city. Mu Yunyu readily approved. She seemed rather agreeable today, probably because Tang San and his group had recently spent a considerable sum at her place. She reminded Tang San to be cautious with his money in the city, as even the demons here rarely saw Naturi coins. Having reached the 6th order, Tang San didn't and Appo's need an escort. His 6th order strength had invisibly elevated his status in the academy. After all, in terms of cultivation he was now second only to Wu Bingji. And he had fought the latter to a draw while he was at the 5th order. After lunch it was once more time for classes. Mu Yunyu took over Guanlongjiang and Appo's theoretical teaching. As soon as the afternoon classes ended, Tang San immediately left the academy and headed down the mountain. He was eager to drink that delicious milk tea, and he was even more eager to see the girl who sold it. Rushing down the mountain, Tang San only slowed down upon entering Kali City. Even after 3 lifetimes, his heart still fluttered with excitement and nervousness at the thought of seeing her. Time seemed to stretch in anticipation, and Tang San found himself quickening his pace unconsciously. Finally, as evening approached, he arrived at the familiar place. Kali City and Appo's central square was bustling at this time, crowded with people. The city and Appo's heart would have flourished even more if there had been an actual commercial district. From a distance, Tang San could already see the sign of the milk tea shop, with a line still formed in front. It was evident that the shop was quite popular. Tang San quickened his pace towards the milk tea shop. Just as he was about to reach the shop, his steps slowed suddenly, a look of undisguised disappointment flashing in his eyes. Two figures were busy at work inside the shop, the familiar young waitress and the gentle young woman. Mei Gongzi and Apos, mother and the waitress were bustling about, but Mei Gongzi himself was nowhere to be seen. She and Apos not here. A strong sense of loss swept over Tang San. His enthusiasm instantly doused as if someone had just dumped a bucket of ice water on him. It and Apos, an eternal truth, the more one cares, the greater their disappointment. Tang San pursed his lips, standing there somewhat dazed. He didn't and Apos join the queue for milk tea. Instead, he slowly retreated and sat under the familiar large tree. He sat there, looking toward the milk tea shop, watching the constant stream of customers and Mei Gongzi and Apos' busy mother. As the sky gradually darkened, Tang San and Apos' gaze remained fixed on the shop, and he waited in silence. Would she come today? What was she doing? He didn't and Apos. No couldn't and Apos even ask. All he could do was wait. As the sky grew darker, the same two people were still busy inside the milk tea shop, without the presence he hoped to see. Tang San realized that he might not see her today. It was getting late and he had to return. Otherwise, there would be trouble if he wasn't and Apos there when Mu Yunyu did her room checks in the evening. He silently joined the queue at the milk tea shop, waiting patiently. The crowd buying milk tea had reduced by this time, and it was soon his turn. What would you like, young man? Su Qin asked softly, looking at the boy standing outside the counter. Her voice was charming, just like her exquisite beauty, which seemed untouched by time. Mei Gongzi didn't and Apos resemble her much. Compared to her mother, she had a more dashing air. Both were beautiful just in different ways. Auntie, I and Apos like 14 cups of milk tea, said Tang San, taking out 14 demon's hard coins, the same wind spirit stone demon's hard coins he had brought from the Wind Wolf town, and placing them on the payment tray. Su Qin looked at him in surprise but nodded, instructing the young waitress to prepare Tang San and Apos' order. Tang San asked hesitantly, Auntie, with such good business, can you manage all the work? Su Qin smiled and replied, It and Apos' manageable. I and Apos been here before, and you even gave me a free cup of milk tea. Do you remember me? Su Qin paused. She saw many customers daily. Although human vassals were rare, it wasn't an Apos like she never saw them. She somewhat remembered this child and Apos' face, but it was very vague. This was Tang San and Apos' third visit. The first time Su Qin had been there, but the second time it was only Mei Gongzi and the female waitress. I do remember seeing you before. Su Qin nodded. Tang San said, when I came that time there were 3 of you, and the other sister gave me the milk tea. Aisin and Apos. She here today? Why was he buying as many as 14 cups of milk tea? It was to probe for information while the milk tea was being made. Xiaomei has gone to school. When she and Apos' not at school, she helps me here. Ah, your milk tea is ready. Su Qin smiled, handing him 2 large bags containing 14 cups. She went to school. Tang San quickly latched onto this crucial piece of information. Mei Gongzi was going to school? Where? She was also a human vassal, yet she wasn't an Apos' one of the students at the Redemption Academy. Could she be going to school together with the demons? Although filled with questions at this moment, he didn't and Apos' inquire further as the demonic beasts in line behind were urging him on. He just turned around and left. On the way back he was deep in thought. The scope of human vassals attending school in Kali City should be pretty limited. In the demons and Apos cities, schools are rare. And even among demons, not all have the opportunity for education. Only the powerful demon races and the nobility among them attend school. Where might Mei Gongzi be attending school? How come she is able to attend school at all, in fact? And for that matter, I still don't and Apos know how her family could open a milk tea shop in the central square. What kind of background can she have? Having been to Mei Gongzi and Apos' milk tea shop 3 times, Tang San had only once seen a demon cause trouble, and it had been immediately quelled. There had to be a reason for this. What was the story behind Mei Gongzi and her mother? What kind of power was silently protecting them? With these doubts in his heart, he made his way back up the mountain. The reason for buying specifically 14 cups of milk tea was simple. There were 10 remaining students in the academy. Adding himself, Mu Yunyu and Si Ru, there were 13 people in total. The last cup was, of course, a respectful offering to his master. Although he didn't oppose Tino if they would drink it, he would buy it for everyone. Tang San had timed his return perfectly before Mu Yunyu and Appo's evening room check. He first found her and offered her a cup. "Here, sister, you please have some milk tea." The milk tea had already cooled, but Mu Yunyu was still pleasantly surprised. "Milk tea? From the shop in the city center? You went to the city center?" Mu Yunyu asked in surprise. Tang San nodded. "I happened to walk by and I saw that this milk tea shop had a lot of customers, so I bought some for everyone." Mu Yunyu immediately smiled. "I and Appo's. V tried it before. It and Appo's delicious." "Thank you. You and Appo's. Very generous, thinking of everyone even when you have money. Come accompany me to check the rooms, and then we can distribute these to everyone." "All right," Tang San agreed. Tang San followed Mu Yunyu to check each room, offering everyone a cup of milk tea. Naturally, everyone was delighted, especially the girls, who seemed to have a particular fondness for milk tea. It was a pleasant surprise for those who hadn't Appo's tea tried it before, and for those who had, it was a joy. After distributing the milk tea, Tang San felt that his fellow students and Appo's attitude towards him had warmed considerably. "Sister Yu, is teacher Siru around? I also bought one for him." "And for master," Tang San added, referring to Zhang Haoshuan. "Old Ciasin and Appo's tea here. Never mind him. His cup is mine now," Mu Yunyu said, taking another cup without one shred of hesitation. "Your teacher should be around. Find him at his place." "Thanks, little Tang." Mu Yunyu returned to her room, and Tang San had already finished his cup on the way back. Holding the last cup of milk tea, he went to the mayor and Appo's residence. He knocked on the door, and a voice from inside groaned, "Who is it?" "Master, it and Appo's." "Me," Tang San responded. Soon the door opened and Zhang Haoshuan, dressed in pajamas, let Tang San in. "It and Appo's pretty late for a visit. Are you having trouble with your cultivation?" Zhang Haoshuan asked. Tang San shook his head. "I went to the city today and bought milk tea for everyone. I and Appo's V brought a cup for you too." As he spoke, he handed over the last cup of milk tea. Zhang Haoshuan smiled. "So you have some money now, huh? I heard you bought a dragon tendon fruit. Have you eaten it yet?" Tang San shook his head. "Not yet. I plan to eat it tonight." Zhang Haoshuan nodded. That was a smart purchase. The dragon tendon fruit is excellent, especially for strengthening the meridians and internal organs. When you take it, control the medicinal power carefully and not let it dissipate. Eat it with the skin Don and Appo's tea. Waste anything. "All right," Tang San said. "Master, there and Appo's something I and Appo's like to ask for your help with." "What is it?" Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's eyebrows rose in curiosity. Tang San explained, "I feel my close quarters combat abilities are lacking, so I thought of a solution. I want to get myself a weapon for self-defense." "Oh, what kind of weapon are you thinking of getting?" Zhang Haoshuan asked, somewhat surprised. "I want to make a hammer," Tang San said. "That and Appo's easy to do. You can have it made at the blacksmith in Appo's shop." "But can an ordinary hammer really do anything to increase your close quarters combat abilities? Are you referring to the disorder wind-splitting hammer technique you taught Guli? How did you come up with that idea?" "I have to admit, it and Appo's quite interesting. I and Appo's seen Guli practicing it a lot lately." Tang San chuckled. "You Don and Appo's really think I made it up myself, do you?" "It and Appo's recorded in the mysterious heaven treasure record. I haven't and Appo's even mastered it yet myself, but I think its destructive power is pretty amazing. And with my ability to control the wind element, I can use that to increase the speed of my rotations, which could be effective. I plan to forge the hammer myself and ask for your help firing it up." Zhang Haoshuan laughed. Don and Appos. T tell me you know how to smith as well. Tang San scratched his head. It shouldn't and Appos. T be too difficult, right? Of course he couldn't and Appos. T tell Zhang Haoshuan that his father in his previous life was the #1 blacksmith in the Douluo continent. Tang San had learned from the best, and he was already rather adept at making hidden weapons from his first life. His blacksmithing skills likely surpassed the level of any blacksmith on the demon continent. Alright then, come find me tomorrow afternoon. I and Appos am free. I and Appos. LL take you to the blacksmith and Appos' shop. You can try it out yourself, and if it doesn't in Appos' work out, we can ask the blacksmith for help. Zhang Haoshuan agreed. Tang San gave him an extraordinary sense of anticipation. Since his arrival at the Redemption Academy, he had continuously brought everyone shocks and surprises, sometimes even a sense of fear. The world certainly had its geniuses, and the demon race was replete with them. However, Tang San was undoubtedly the most talented human Zhang Haoshuan had ever encountered. Perhaps it was fate that the mysterious Heaven Treasure record chose him. Only Zhang Haoshuan knew that because of this, Tang San had become even more significant in his eyes than Du Bai and Gu Li, who possessed the top-tier demonic god transformations bloodlines. Tang San had reached the 6th order before he even turned 10. His rate of improvement was astounding. If he continued this way, he should be able to reach the 9th order before the age of 20, and who knew whether he would touch the threshold of the mysterious level beyond the 12th order in the future. It was still uncertain to what extent he could cultivate the mysterious heaven technique. The fact that Zhang Haoshuan had escorted Tang San and Appos' team on their outing was actually primarily out of concern for Tang San and Appos' safety. The more potent Tang San and Appos' abilities and the faster his progress, the more importance Zhang Haoshuan placed on him. To protect Tang San, even the organization was kept in the dark about his connection to the mysterious Heaven Treasure record. This secret was too important to reveal before Tang San was fully developed. By the way, now that you and Appos' reached the 6th order, I will apply to elevate your redemption class to Orange, Zhang Haoshuan told Tang San. Alright, thank you, Master, Tang San responded. Among the students, only Wu Bingji was an Orange class redeemer due to his cultivation. Reaching the 6th order naturally qualified one for the Orange class even without significant contributions to the organization. A 9-year-old Orange class member, you and Appos' certainly set a record. However, little Tang, I must remind you, Don and Appos' stand out too much in the academy. You and Appos' already quite noticeable here. You know your situation, it and Appos' better to be steady and low-key. Okay, teacher, I understand. And Appos' grow quietly, Don and Appos' show off. And Appos', Tang San said with a chuckle. Exactly, that and Appos' the spirit. Go now, get some rest. Come over after lunch tomorrow, I and Appos' make arrangements with the blacksmith and Appos' shop, Zhang Haoshuan said. After Tang San left, Zhang Haoshuan closed the door and picked up the milk tea. A faint red glow danced at his fingertips, quickly warming up the tea. The aroma of milk mixed with the scent of tea lingered in his nostrils. Zhang Haoshuan took a deep breath and slowly sipped the milk tea, his eyes thoughtful. After returning from the last practical training, Zhang Haoshuan had been away for a few days. During this time, he had thoroughly investigated Tang San and Appos' entire history from birth to the present, carefully examining every single minute detail. It was really because Tang San was too outstanding, like a treasure trove, always bringing out something novel and intriguing. During the team and Appos' training expedition, Zhang Haoshuan had observed Tang San giving pointers to Wu Bingji, Gu Li, Chang Zicheng, and Du Bai, and nothing had escaped his notice. Whether it was the disorder-splitting wind hammer, the control over the ice element that he taught Wu Bingji, or even the method of training one and Appos' eyesight, they were all unprecedented among humans. His biggest worry was, naturally, Tang San and Appos' background. If he turned out to be a demon sent to infiltrate the Redemption Society, that would be a significant problem. However, all evidence showed that Tang San and Appos' background was spotless, without any flaws. Zhang Haoshuan could also clearly feel Tang San and Appos' helpfulness and kindness toward everyone around him. What Tang San didn't and Appos' T realized was that his master could have ended his own fight much earlier on the day they faced the Winged Tiger King. Indeed, Zhang Haoshuan was a true blue powerhouse even among Ninth Order beings. He had noticed the situation with the tigress and could have provided support earlier. In fact, he had been monitoring the battlefield, ready to intervene at any moment. He wanted to see how Tang San would react in a life-and-death situation. What shocked Zhang Haoshuan was that the 3 students actually managed to kill the tigress at the last moment. Others didn't and oppose. T noticed, but Zhang Haoshuan, with his mighty spiritual power, realized that Tang San had also used time freeze. In other words, he had absorbed the Chrono Croc transformation from Gu Li, utilizing his mysterious heaven technique. That was his 5th type of demonic god transformation. Zhang Haoshuan was shocked and filled with amazement. This was why he had re-examined Tang San and Appo's background after returning, even though he had already done a background check long before he had even met the child. Now he had come to trust Tang San fully. After carefully investigating and considering Tang San and Appo's overall situation, he truly believed that he was a proper human. There was also another reason for this certainty. Even among the demons and nymphs, no creature with 5 different bloodlines existed. There were indeed anomalies, with some demons inheriting 2 different bloodlines from their parents. But this was the limit, as more bloodlines would create a chaotic mix, preventing any bloodline power from ever being enhanced. However, Tang San was different. He had 5 demonic god transformation abilities, and each one would grow as he grew. Zhang Haoshuan was sure this was unprecedented in the history of the continent. Leaving aside the fact he unquestionably had human blood, even if Tang San was an actual demon, he would be a supreme genius in their world. Any demon clan would surely treasure him beyond imagination. How could they send him as a spy? In fact, the demons were aware of the Redemption Society, but had not launched targeted campaigns against them, as neither demons nor nymphs took the Redemption Society seriously. To them, the society was little more than an annoyance. Therefore, Zhang Haoshuan increased